Byron. Hey, everybody, welcome into the High Noon stream. I'm Pugs Moran. Byron's already complaining. I know, a little bit late today, but look, here's what I promise you about today, about today's High Noon show, guys. Hold on, come on, gather in. You know, when I show up like on time, there's like nobody here. Nobody on time. And Byron, you for all last night, didn't you just like trickle in like 45 minutes late and you're like, hey, I'm here. What did I miss? So get off my balls, Byron. Today I could go. Who knows how long I'm going to go today? We're supposed to have, hey, how we doing out there? Is America still a thing? Are we still a thing right now, or has the Civil War started? So who knows? Today could be an interesting day. That's all I'm saying. I do apologize for the tardy start, but I have no. You know what? All right, here's why. I spent a little bit too much time this morning reading stuff that I would never read just because I'm not interested in it, but I thought it might be important to know if certain things occurred today. So I got 10 minutes behind. I apologize. All right, let's get the show started. This is the High Noon Show. My name is Pugs Moran. I do this every Monday through Friday at noon. This is the first of two streams that I do every day here on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. The second one is Pugs and Parker. I think we're going to have to change the name. Pugs and Parker with E, because everybody's favorite guy, E, is back on the nighttime show. And that's fun. So Pugs and Parker and E is a thing now. That's every Monday through Thursday evening at 9 p.m. That's more conversational. This show here is more functional, practical. I give you all the headlines, the hot topics, the current events, everything in the world that is happening today. I try to be non-divisive. We're not political here. We think both sides are pretty much, out of their gourds. We're the happy middle in here. We're the happy middle that leans right. We're the happy middle that leans left. We're the happy middle who can just... We are the people. Here's what this show is for. This show is for the people who get information on YouTube who know that JFK Jr. is dead. There you go. That's all. That's really the only criteria. When you fill out your application card to become a viewer of this show, by the way, you can get your application cards at the front desk. The application cards, just one question. Do you think JFK Jr. is alive or dead? So what I'm trying to say is just normal people. So we try and give you all the news, all the kinds of stuff that you can talk about, other than the divisive nonsense and, all the other stuff you get on, whether it's talk radio or other streams. So here we go. Let's get into it. How do we do this? How do we present the day for you? Well, I give you the history of this day. I tell you a whole bunch of stuff that happened on this day in history. And I'll tell you, I don't give you everything. Okay, I give you the stuff that I'm like, I could talk about that for 30 seconds. That's the stuff I give you. And then we go through births. We talk about people who were born onto the world on this day. We celebrate their contribution. Sometimes we talk about what pieces of garbage they are. Really all depends on the person. Then we mourn some of the passings. So after we've done the events that have shaped this day in the past, previously on March the 21st. See, once we've gone through that, and then once we've gone through birthdays and talked about the individuals and the deaths, then I feel that, at least for me personally, I understand what this day has been, and we're ready to move on to the hot topics, current events, trends, and headlines of the day. Okay, you with me? We understand what we're doing? All right, let's get started. Sip of coffee to you. Sip of coffee to you, America, or whoever. I woke up this morning, I thought the world was gonna be in flames. Nothing. Whatever. I'm not pulling for that. I'm just, hey, at this point, I'm just an observer. I'm a middle-aged man. What am I gonna do, join the army? I don't think so. Here's my lot in life. I'm just going to have to shut my mouth, sit on the sidelines, and just wait to see who wins and hope they like me. That's it. That's pretty much my whole... Now, if I was 30, I might take a side. If I was 25, I'd definitely take a side. If I was 18, I'd absolutely have taken the wrong side. All right, let's get into what today is. Hi, I'm Pugs Moran, and it is the Yep. Okay. And it is it is March the 21st, year of our Lord 2023. March the 21st is the 80th day of the year, and that means there are 285 days left in this year. So as we say around these parts, get those New Year's Eve plans started. On this day in 1925, the Butler Act, you guys know what the Butler Act is? 1925, the Butler Act, it prohibits the teaching of human evolution in Tennessee. So in Tennessee, I don't know, do you believe in evolution? I mean, I kind of do. It's one of the foundations of, my understanding of things. But no, some people in Tennessee back in 1925 didn't want, we ain't cat from monkeys, whatever. Okay, not directly from monkeys. I mean, but how come the gorillas didn't keep evolving? Because, see, it's different genetic. You don't understand genetics. Okay, but that sounds like, to dumb people, that sounds good. Well, if we done come from the monkeys, then why did the gorillas still look like the gorillas and they didn't turn into the peoples like us? That's like the dumb people thing. Genetic spikes. You got to learn about genetics. I don't know enough about genetics to accurately explain it to you, but I do understand that it's an area that I don't understand, so I probably shouldn't be making stupid statements. Anyway, the Butler Act said that they couldn't teach evolution in Tennessee. And if you've ever seen, I'm not even sure. I think it might be. Film Inherit the Wind about the Scopes monkey trial and all that. Is this what led to that? It's probably, I would think. On this day in 1928, Charles Lindbergh is presented with the Medal of Honor for the first solo transatlantic flight. High-fiving Hitler as he flies over Europe. Charles Lindbergh. That's one of those. That's one of those interesting. I've never really done a deep dive on Charles Lindbergh. I just know the hits, right? The hits. Did something with a plane. And when I say the hits, I mean that. I don't know the specifics. What, was he the first guy to cross the Atlantic? Is that what he did? He did something with a plane. A lot of people liked him. His baby. He had a tragedy with his baby. His baby got kidnapped. American hero. I mean, Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, Frank Sinatra, whatever you want. He was big, Charles Lindbergh. And a friend of Hitler's. That's the other thing. See? People are complicated. Cool that he was the first guy to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. Or around the globe. Whatever he did. Not cool that he was friends with Hitler. See? People are complicated. You gotta, the measure of the man. You gotta evaluate it all and then come to a conclusion. Can't just, 1943 on this day, the Wehrmacht officer Rudolf von Gersdorf, seriously, that's his name, Rudolf von Gersdorf, plots to assassinate Adolf Hitler by using a suicide bomb. But the plan falls through. Von Gersdorf is able to defuse the bomb in time and avoid suspicion. Is this the meeting, briefcase bomb? Or is that, did they try to kill Hitler a bunch of times? It's honestly, it's nice. That's nice. Like when you realize that like people were trying to kill Hitler inside the Nazi regime, it like kind of restores a little bit of faith in humanity, right? You're like, okay, so somebody did try to do something inside. Because at some point you get so powerful where it's got to be done on the inside. Looking at you, Putin. Putin's one of these guys. Putin's got to be done from the inside. He's too big now. And so was Hitler. It's nice to know. It's nice to know that guys were like, oh, God. They didn't want to give up their pensions. They were career officers in the German military. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, God. What is this? They had tough choices to make. I'm not defending Nazis. God, no, I am defending normal German army officers who, when the Nazis came in, they had to make a consideration about, well, am I going to lose my pension? What do I do? Do I just quit? And I'm saying it's nice that people were trying to kill him. Don't get it twisted. Man, people get everything twisted. People twisting up my Crackoon movie pitch idea to go with Cocaine Bear. People saying Crackoon because I said it in like South Central Los Angeles where crack is sold. But raccoon, do they have raccoons inside? Yeah, I'm thinking, okay, crack. We need to do a movie about crack. Where do you get crack? Okay, South Central. That's good. We were pitching, movies yesterday for the genre. Anyway, we did it again last night on Pugs and Parker, and I pitched Crackoon, and I'm a racist for it. And I'm like, there is zero racist behind. And I'm thinking about it. I go, okay, coon. I guess coon is like something that they call, bigots and racists call black people. But okay, I wasn't even thinking about that. You know who thought about that? E. He was like, well, I'm like, no, you're racist for thinking about it. I didn't even think about that. I'm like, oh, okay, that is problematic. I'm trying to make a cool Boys in the Hood meets Cocaine Bear movie, and you people are calling me racist. I think that's going to be awesome. Gangbangers fighting rabid, cracked out raccoons. I'm telling you, I saw Cocaine Bear and it changed my life. I think there's an entire genre of animals doing drug movies, and I just want to start producing them, and I can't be hampered by people who are too woke to understand a good idea. Crackoon, there was no racist intent there. Once again, I hate this rant, but I got to do it because Crackoon was presented with a brother piece. Remember, Meth Wolf about the Sturgis biker rally and a wolf pack that finds like a backpack filled with methamphetamine and goes crazy and then attacks the Sturgis motorcycle rally. Right? That was meth. That's all like, bikers and rural white people and all of that, right? Nobody said that was racist. Nobody said my meth wolf pitch was racist. So I wanted to come up with an urban piece. Since I was creating Meth Wolf was more of a rural appeal. I went, okay, now I need like an urban piece. And I'm like, yeah, I'd like to go like Boys in the Hood meets Cocaine Bear. Crackoon! It's brilliant. Not racist at all. And why am I overly defending it? Because when he pointed out the coon thing, I was like, oh no, I didn't even think about that. That hurts. That could be taken as racist. Man, I get Ice Cube to star in it. As the dad whose son is in trouble for losing the backpack filled with crack. I don't know, whatever. Fighting off the crackoons. In summation, on this day in 1943, it was nice to know that there were some Nazi officers trying to kill Hitler. That's all. That's it. Thank you. We just came full circle. We deviated down Crackoon Alley, but whatever. On this day in 1946, the Los Angeles Rams signed Kenny Washington, making him the first African-American player in professional American football since 1933. Yeah, that's right. See, this is why we don't really celebrate Kenny Washington, because the NFL, do you know what happened with the NFL? So when the NFL started, they were like, yeah, anybody can play. This is white man's game. Like that wasn't like even a consideration because so few people were really good enough at football that, they were like, whoever. Had Native Americans out there playing, you had black guys, that's it, black guys. So black guys played in the NFL from its inception, from the earliest days, from the AAFL, from before the NFL, back when, these were essentially just company teams. I'll give you the history quickly of the Chicago Bears. They were a company team. They were the Decatur Staleys. They were a bunch of factory workers who worked at the Staley factory in Decatur, Illinois. And George Halas was brought in to coach this company team because it was companies that were creating extracurricular teams to play other companies. So at any rate, black guys played all the time in football. And in the earliest days of the NFL, there were black guys on a lot of teams. And then I think it was Jack Kent Cooke. I think it was the Redskins guy. He's the guy that gets blamed for all of this. Although it's a big mark on George Halas. George Halas could have stopped it, and he didn't stop it. But the NFL, after like 3 years, they went, okay, no black guys anymore. And they fired all the black guys. And they said, no black guys allowed in the NFL anymore. And this was like 1920 something. I don't know. And then in 1933, on this day, Kenny Washington was signed by, or 1946, Kenny Washington. I think it was 30, was it 33? Yeah, it is. Okay, there it is. So in 1933, a good 12 years after the foundation of the NFL, in 1933, the NFL went, yeah, no more black guys. Okay, you guys, you've had 12-year careers in this league. We're pretending like you never played for us because we did. Now we're big enough. 1933, we're getting big enough. We don't need the black guys anymore. So the black guys aren't allowed to play football. So it was on this day in 1946. So for 13 years, black guys were banned from playing NFL football. And on this day in 1946, the Los Angeles Rams signed Kenny Washington. And the reason that I say that this isn't a celebrated thing, Kenny Washington certainly broke a ceiling of a sort, but it's not celebrated because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that they shouldn't have him because they had the first black guy to play in the NFL played in like 1921, right? But they can't really. So now they got this guy, Kenny Washington, out there walking around going, yeah, and then you kicked us all out. And I was the first guy you let. It's complicated and it's a bit embarrassing for the NFL. So on this day in 1952, Alan Freed presents the Moondog Coronation Ball. It was the very first rock and roll concert. That's right, the very first rock and roll concert occurred on this day, the Moondog Coronation Ball. In where? What city? What city? Cleveland, Ohio. That's why the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's in Cleveland. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's in Cleveland because Alan Freed, who is the disc jockey most associated with the coining of the phrase, well, he coined the phrase rock and roll. He was trying to come up with a way to describe what was called black music, colored music, race music, okay? He loved it. He loved race music. And he couldn't play race music on his radio station in Cleveland, Ohio. And so he created a new genre. He just started calling things that would otherwise be race music. He just started calling it rock and roll. He's like, yeah, no, this is rock and roll. This is not race music. This is rock and roll. And he started introducing it on the radio as rock and roll. So that is why Cleveland is the home of rock and roll. And on this day in 1952, the very first rock and roll concert occurred in Cleveland, Ohio. The Moondog Coronation Ball, presented by Alan Freed. Alan Freed died drunk, broke, and penniless. Alan Freed, the father of rock and roll. The whole vibe, the whole thing, the whole reason that it became a thing is because Alan Freed had the balls to play it. Nobody was playing it. People were afraid to play it. Dudes were getting fired for playing Chuck Berry songs. And Alan Freed schemed a way to be able to get it past his bosses. He was like the music director too, if they even had a term for music director back then. I think they were just able to play whatever they wanted. Except race music. They weren't allowed to play race music. So how silly is that? There was a notion back then that white ears didn't want to hear black voices. Man, was that a miscalculation, huh? I mean, that was just not right at all. That's been proven wrong. I mean, just ask the estate of Michael Jackson. That's been proven wrong. On this day in 1965, Martin Luther King leads 3,200 people on the start of the third and final successful civil rights march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama. On this day in 1965. On this day in 1970, San Diego Comic-Con, the largest pop and culture festival in the world, holds its inaugural event. Man, you know what? That would be an interesting... That would be an interesting movie, right? And I say this because I just, I'm in movie-making mode now. I'm pitching my Meth Wolf. I'm pitching my Crackoon. I'm still pitching Crackoon, folks. I think it's an honorable pitch. So I'm thinking a lot about movies. I saw the trailer for Air, and that's trending. We're not going to talk about it today, but I'm going to talk about it right here for a minute. Air. Have you seen the trailer for the movie Air? It's probably going to be a big hit. It looks good. It looks interesting. It's going to be a grown-up hit. It's not going to be anything the kids wanting to see Vin Diesel drive like a Nissan Sentra at 150 miles an hour are going to want to sit through. But you know what I mean? It looks good. It's the reteaming of Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, and it's the story of Nike and how Nike basically courted Michael Jordan to invent the shoe industry. And that's basically what it's about. It's about the way sneakers and shoes and all of that changed after, Michael Jordan and the Jordan line was introduced. Anyway, it looks great. The trailer, if you haven't seen it, the trailer looks really good. It looks really interesting. Comic-Con. Wouldn't that be an interesting one? Huh? That'd be a good movie. I'd like to see how Comic-Con started on this day in 1970 because Comic-Con is massive. Comic-Con went from being a bunch of nerds that like everybody like turned their noses up at and were like, oh my God, look at all them nerds, to being a phenomenon, an absolute, cosplay, Comic-Con. That's because of Comic-Con. Cosplay being so normalized and all that, that's Comic-Con. Furries and stuff like that, that's Comic-Con. Comic-Con has normalized any number of things that we now see every single day. And very first, right now, your grandma could have pink hair, pink and purple hair. That's a normal thing to see now. Like, older women with like, oh my God, that's magenta. That woman has magenta hair, right? And she's like 58. It's like, okay. That shit started at Comic-Con. In the 1980s, girls weren't walking around with magenta hair, okay? Punkers were. Punkers and Comic-Con people were. So that'd be a good movie. I'd like to see a movie about Comic-Con over the years. Like from its beginning, from just a bunch of comic book nerds to like its insane rise. And also the reason I'm interested in this kind of storytelling is because I'm watching on Hulu, I've started watching the Chippendale murder story. I don't know if you know about this, Chippendales, the dudes who dance. It's the story of Chippendales and how it was just rife with like sex, drugs, and murder. It's pretty interesting. Anyway, I don't know that Comic-Con can offer that kind of stuff. I think Comic-Con could just be fun. So there you have it. On this day in 1970, Comic-Con. I have never been to a Comic-Con. Good thing you're writing a movie about it. That's my co-host, my sidecar rider. Schizophrenic me. He's the voice in my head. Sometimes he jumps out and you hear him on mic. Yeah, I've never been to Comic-Con, so maybe I shouldn't be in charge. I'm throwing that out there. There you go. Any of you young movie makers and dreamers out there, you want to make a movie about the origins of Comic-Con? There you go. There's your idea. On this day in 1980, Cold War, U.S. President Jimmy Carter announces a United States boycott of the 1980 Summer Olympics in Moscow to protest the Soviet-Afghan War. Let me tell you something. This is the thing. The thing. So like young people don't understand why some old heads hate Jimmy Carter. And just, this is the thing. This is the big thing that happened. I know, historically speaking, there were bigger things. But the thing that, over the fence talk that had people talking shit on Jimmy Carter, it was this. And I know because I was a 10-year-old kid and I was crushed. I didn't even know what the Olympics were, but I was excited about them. And then all of a sudden, we're not going to be in the Olympics? And for political reasons, isn't that the whole point of the Olympics? The whole reason for the Olympics is to put all the bullshit aside and do a 50-yard dash, right? That's the whole point. That's the reason for the Olympics. You're supposed to put all that shit aside. So when this happened, it was like, that's not really the Olympic spirit. That's not how this is supposed to work. Maybe we see some unity at the Olympics. Maybe we see, we're in the Cold War, so maybe a Russian and an American runner hug, and maybe that image resonates. And maybe, that's what the Olympics are supposed to be about. So when this move was pulled, it was like, whatever, dude. But here's the thing. They came to the winter, right? Because if it was the 80 Summer Olympics, then the 80 Winter Olympics is where we humiliated them. And when we had it. So we had the Winter Olympics in 80. Yeah, Lake Placid. Lake Placid had the Winter Olympics in 80. The Russians came. We cleaned their clock in hockey. We sent them home like a bunch of bitches. And then what did we do? We went, yeah, and by the way, this summer we ain't coming to your place. Piss off. That's what we did. But then did they boycott 84 in LA? Did they? I don't know. Anyways, on this day, Carter said, we're not going to the Olympics in 1980. On this day in 1983, the first cases of the 1983 West Bank fainting epidemic began. Israelis and Palestinians accuse each other of poison gas, but the cause is later determined to mostly be psychosomatic. So this is a really funny, psychologists and people like this study this incident. So it was in West Bank of Israel, which was, Palestinians and Jewish settlers. And they weren't fighting. They were fighting. There was like some bad stuff going on, but they intermingled with each other in public and stuff. And so some people believe that a group on one side, either the Palestinians or the Israelis, almost like a flash mob, like a 1983 flash mob, if you will. So they all got together and they were in the middle of a town and they were at different, places. And they all fainted at the same time, causing all these ambulances to be dispatched and all of that. And then the other side, the other group started doing that, started fainting too. They were faking. They were trying to claim, each side was trying to claim the other was using poison gas. So they were all walking around fainting in public, hoping that it would start some shit. And other people, and that's what this says here at the end, determined to be mostly psychosomatic. A lot of other people started fainting too, like people who weren't in on it, who weren't a part of it. And these people started fainting because they were so anxious about the idea that there could be poison gas that they passed themselves out. They fainted from being so anxious. Because people start fainting and you're like, oh my God, it's the gas. And you've been worrying about it for, days, weeks, whatever. And now your heart's pounding and all of a sudden you fainted too. Crazy. See, this is what I say when we seem to be doing very well with the inside of the body, the organs, the removing of tumors and the replacement of hearts and all that. That's good. That's good. We don't know shit about the mind, man. The mind is what we've really never gone into too deep. More pressing things. Dude, heart stops, got to fix the heart. Got to fix that or else he's gone. We don't really have to fix him if he's just a little bit wacky sometimes, right? Okay, that can wait. So I guess medical sciences. Well, they've done great things with the body. Hey, medical science, love your work with gallbladder surgery. You've been doing amazing things. Disease research, wonderful. Love it. But let's just all admit that we don't know shit about what's going on in the human mind. That's just up. On this day in 2006, this will be the last one for the events of history. On this day in 2006, ladies and gentlemen, Twitter is founded. Twitter, on this day in 2006. Do you remember a world before Twitter? I mean, we can go even further with that. We could say, do you remember a world before social media? But, you had your Friendsters and your MySpaces and your Frenzies and your, then was Facebook first? Yeah, and then Facebook popped in and sort of knocked MySpace away. Twitter has really, and now we have Instagram. I know Insta's big and all that, but Facebook, I know your aunt. Twitter, though, for like important things and high-ranking people making statements that actually affect the world, Twitter has really become important. And I don't mean that in a good way, like it's important, like it's good. I mean, it's important, like people rely on Twitter. Like, right, I got Twitter open right now, and I'm refreshing it every couple of seconds just to see if there's any news about the so-called, whatever, arrest, indictment, whatever. So, I mean, the way we rely on Twitter, man, I don't know. It's important to the way I live my life. It has become incredibly important to me, and that concerns me to no end. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, because I have noticed, so I'm not a big Twitter critic. Like, I'm not like, Twitter sucks since Musk bought it. I don't really have a take on Musk other than, as I've always said, that's a weird dude. He's a weird guy. That's my take on him. And, everybody's complaining. Twitter's changed. Twitter's different now. It is. I mean, I have absolutely noticed some changes, there's been, some adjustments, some changes in layout and format, and some things you have to do slightly differently now. I hate the blue check now thing where everybody's a blue check. Everybody's a blue check if they're willing to pay $8. I mean, it seems to me that I see so many more ads now on Twitter. My timelines are just flooded with like stupid ads for things like it's like they're taking money from everybody. I don't know. I've noticed changes in Twitter, and that's concerning. But what's more concerning is how it's concerning to me that changes in Twitter concern me. All right, those are the events of today. So do we feel like we know what's happened previously on March the 21st? Because there you go. How about some birthdays? Let's run through some birthdays. Here's a big one. Born on this day in 1685, Johann Sebastian Bach. Johann Sebastian Bach. Hum, 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 hum. That's probably Beethoven, but I don't know. I don't know any Bach. What is Bach off the top of my head? I don't know. So happy birthday to you, Johann Sebastian Bach. You probably didn't write, but it's your birthday, and I know you're important, but I mean, classical music, really? What kind of I'm not that much of a musical tryhard. I can't. I mean, I suppose it's nice in the right setting at a low key, maybe a fancy dinner with nice casual conversation. That might be nice, classy. But to come home and listen to classical, are you kidding me? I'm just gonna clean the house and listen to some Bach. You're trying too hard, man. I don't know, but it's beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Some music is beautiful, but I don't know, not my wheelhouse. Happy birthday, Bach! Born on this day in 1922, Russ Meyer, American director, producer, and screenwriter. Russ Meyer. Hey, tonight on Pugs and Parker, Dan O'Malley will be joining us. Dan O'Malley of the Treehouse, The Freak, formerly of the Russ Martin Show. Dan O'Malley joining us tonight at 9 o'clock to discuss what happened at 105.3 with Parker and myself on the live stream. Let's see here. Russ Meyer. Oh yeah. So Russ Meyer. He was a guy who like just if like Russ. When people talk about Russ Meyer, they talk about girls. Like he used women in his movies. Like sort of like Playboy before Playboy. Like they all had big boobs and they all wore low cut dresses and whatever. I don't know. I don't know much about Russ Meyer. I just know that he was like the booby director. Russ Meyer. Born on this day in 1922. Born on this day in 1946, Timothy Dalton. He was one of the Bonds. I don't watch Bond movies, but is he like Vanilla Bond? He seems like he would be like the least charismatic of the Bonds, just to me. Born on this day in 1949. Oh, man, in 2019, he cashed in his 2 tickets to paradise. Eddie Money, born on this day in 1949. He was... Dude, you guys, Eddie Money. First of all, if you're like me, if you're Gen X, if you're from the 80s, you know Eddie. You know what Eddie Money is. Eddie Money was a big rock star. Inexplicably so. He was a big rock star. I had occasion to meet Eddie Money on a number of occasions because Eddie Money loved playing festivals. And when you do local radio, you always get the dudes who are playing the festivals. So Eddie Money did a couple of times in Chicago. He came here, he did Grape Fest. He came in, he sat with Kelly and me. Eddie Money was a human Muppet. He was just, I remember every time I see him, he wears the sunglasses, like the aviator shades. And then he always had like this Muppet hair, and he bounced. He was high energy, so his hair would bounce as he was. He did a great ID for us. Maybe James could find it. I don't know. I'd love to hear it. But he did just this great ID for us for our show, and it used to make us laugh because it was, hey, is anybody who listens to the Pugs and Kelly at 105.3? I mean, he was just so Eddie Money that's how he always was. He was a lovely guy. Just a really lovely guy, really nice gentleman. Born on this day in 1949, Eddie Money. Born on this day in 1958, Brad Hall, American comedian, director, and screenwriter. 1958, Brad Hall. Tell you about Brad Hall, man. No, that's just on looks. Brad Hall. Oh, Brad Hall's a weird-looking guy. I don't understand Brad Hall. Brad Hall was on Saturday Night Live for a period of time. In the early 80s, like Eddie Murphy's first year, and then he was a writer, and then he's gone. He's still a writer, and he occasionally appears in stuff. But Brad Hall appears to me to be just a gentleman of leisure. You know why? Because when he was in college at Northwestern University, he met a little girl there, a little scared little freshman girl, a little 18-year-old girl, and he swept her off her feet because he was tall with a big giant nose. Seriously. This guy wrapped up with a nice tiny bow, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, back in like 1979, and he ain't let go. And for that, Brad Hall deserves whatever Brad Hall has done to hang on to that. See, here's the deal. You gotta understand, Brad Hall's ugly. That's what I'm trying to say. Brad Hall's an ugly guy, man. He's weird looking. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus is one of the most delightful examples of the female specimen I've ever seen. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is adorable, first of all, looks-wise. We're just going aesthetically. She's adorable. She's like 70 years old, and she's still adorable. Smart. She's smart. She's like witty, and she's so funny. So she's got all of that. Smart, witty, adorable. But, and I wonder if Brad Hall knew this when he put the moose on her, she's a billionaire. She is a billionaire. Her family runs the Dreyfus Fund, which is like a massive international banking. If there are lizard people, 1% or Illuminatis, you better believe she's got a cousin with a seat on that board of directors. That's who Julia Louis-Dreyfus is. And ugly old Brad Hall, he never did anything. He just, you know what he did? He appeared, whenever Julia Louis-Dreyfus would appear in Curb Your Enthusiasm as Julia Louis-Dreyfus, like Larry would like go over to her house in the middle of the night to bother her about something stupid. Brad Hall was always in those episodes. But I ain't seen Brad Hall in anything since he and Julia Louis-Dreyfus were kicked off Saturday Night Live. She went on to become a national treasure, and he became a house husband. And for that, good for you, Brad Hall. You are living. I bet you. What, are you still working on your novel, Brad? Is that what you're doing? I don't care, bro. You got it hooked up. Good for you. You got wonderful children. I imagine you did most of the raising because, Julia she had her Seinfeld, she had Veep. She's busy. I'm guessing that you, Brad, were probably at the Little League games and all that stuff. So good for you. How great is that, though? Seriously, think about that. He hooked up with an adorable, talented, star on the rise billionaire when he was like 21 and she was like 18. It's crazy. And he hung on. Give Brad Hall credit. He knows when not to let go, right? He knows, like a lot of us dudes, we get with girls, like all of us have girls that we've blown it with, right? That we've been like, oh man, you know what? I should have been better to her. We all have that. Brad Hall recognized that he had that at a very young age, and he was like, okay. Maybe because does the fact that he was soon to learn, like you meet her because she's cute, and then you like her because of her personality, and then, you stay with her because of her potential and all that. So those are sort of the way that we look at these things. At what point did he find out that she was a billionaire, right? Like at what point? Because I think you're like, man, this chick's cool. She's cute. Man, I like this chick. Hey, Brad, you want to come to the frat party? That chick you've been hitting on is going to be there. Yeah, actually, I think I will. I'm going to go to that party. But there's this girl I kind of like. And then she's like, but I'm a billionaire. That's when Brad goes, yeah, I ain't going to that party. I'm hanging out with that chick that I kind of like, who I now found out she's a billionaire. So I love her. He hung on, man. Godspeed to you, Brad. Godspeed. Who else do we have a birthday for? Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman. I love Gary Oldman is celebrating a birthday today. He's an umbilical cousin with Brad Hall. Both of them born on this day in 1958. Gary Oldman. Wow. Okay. Good day for these umbilical cousins in 1958. Because Brad Hall, I've already told you how cool I think Brad Hall is, just for the way he's navigated everything and hung on to Julia Louis-Dreyfus for like 40 years. I already told you about Brad Hall. Gary Oldman, man. Gary Oldman. You better believe Gary Oldman draft. Gary Oldman draft! I love Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman's one of my favorite actors. Gary Oldman's in something, I'm like, I'll sit down, I'll give 15 minutes. If Gary Oldman's in something, I'll give it 15 minutes. He's a part of my give it 15 minutes team. There are a number of people like that. Ryan Reynolds is a give it 15 minutes teammate of his. Okay, so let's do the Gary Oldman draft. With the first pick in the Gary Oldman draft, Pugs and Company High Noon Show, we are going with Sid and Nancy. I didn't even have to think about this twice. I mean, there's a lot of great movies, but Sid and Nancy, when he played Sid Vicious and he's murdering Nancy Spungen, oh my God, it's the first time we saw him. It's the first time, that was, I believe, his breakthrough role, where people in America were like, whoa, who's that actor? Number one off the board, Sid and Nancy. Number two, State of Grace. Have you guys ever seen State of Grace? Oh, do I love that movie. Okay, State of Grace. Sean Penn plays a Hell's Kitchen, New York, Irish mob kid, and he goes away for a couple of years, and they all think that he went away to do something, but really he went away to like the police academy, and he's been a cop in Boston. And he's assigned to go undercover and infiltrate his family's mob. And is Gary Oldman his brother? His brother, he's a psychopath. He's a psychopathic, young, 20-year-old, coked up Irish New York Hell's Kitchen mobster. Oh, State of Grace, number two. State of Grace is good. State of Grace is a good movie. And I believe it's where he met Robin Wright, because Robin Wright's also in it. And by the way, just let me point out that if you're a fan of Robin Wright, as I am, State of Grace is apex Robin Wright. It's 22-year-old, beautiful, perfect, before Princess Bride, or maybe after Princess Bride, not sure, but it's Princess Bride era Robin Wright, and that can't be ignored. I'm just telling you. Number 2 off the board in the Gary Oldman draft, State of Grace. Number 3 off the board in the Gary Oldman draft, we're going True Romance. How awesome is True Romance? Number 4 off the board in the Gary Oldman draft, we're going JFK. He was Lee Harvey. He was Lee Harvey in Oliver Stone's JFK. He was so good. He's so good in everything. How about Bram Stoker's Dracula? He was Dracula. He was Dracula in Bram Stoker's Dracula. Gary Oldman. Okay, that concludes our 5-round draft of Gary Oldman movies. Sid and Nancy, State of Grace. Sid and Nancy goes first. State of Grace second. True Romance third. JFK fourth. And Dracula fifth. But we've got some undrafted camp invitees, so let's bring them in. We've got Rosencrantz and Gildersleeve Are Dead. You ever seen this? This used to be on HBO all the time in like the late 80s. And I caught it late at night once. Very good movie. Rosencrantz and Gildersleeve Are Dead. Gary Oldman plays Rosencrantz. Criminal Law, another good one. Henry and June gets a camp invite. Batman, come on, Gary Oldman and the Batmans. He's going to get camp invites, you better believe it. Air Force One. Oh, I love Air Force One. Gary Oldman, bad guy. Air Force One gets a camp invite. The Contender. This is one of my favorite. Joan Allen. Joan Allen is the Contender. She's a senator, and she's trying to become vice president of the United States. And Gary Oldman plays the leader of the opposition party. He's a senator from the other party. And he drugs up some dirt on her, and it's all about how, they find dirt and they use it against you and the compromises that are made in Washington. The Contender! Joan Allen. Who's the president? Jeff Bridges? Is Jeff Bridges the president in that? It's a very small role for the actual president, but I think Jeff Bridges is the president. The Contender gets a camp invite. All right. The other thing that I want to mention, Gary Oldman has a television series that is currently in production, and it is so good. And I don't talk about it because I don't know that anybody watches it. Apparently, it's a BBC show. It's a show that's made in England. It's an English show. But it's on Apple TV. And Apple TV has branded it as one of their originals, so maybe it's an original Apple TV show. I don't know. It's the story of it's called Slow Horses, and it's on Apple TV. And Gary Oldman plays an MI5, which is like CIA, which is like British CIA. He's an analyst, an operative. He's formerly a Cold War spy. Like back in the Cold War, he's aging now. He's old now. But back in the Cold War days, he was like a super spy, really important to the British and the West. Now he's a drunk, and he's kind of at the end of his career, and he's riding out to retirement and all that. And he's been put in charge of a group of agents called Slow Horses. And why are they called Slow Horses? Because these are all agents who have fucked up on missions. Like there have been missions that have gone bad, and these are the ones that have gotten blamed or the ones that have been scapegoated. And that's really what it's about. This isn't a Bad News Bears show. These are all like really good agents who, because of the politics and internal dramas and all of that stuff that occur in these things, have somehow had their careers derailed for bullshit reasons. So now they have like accidentally assembled like a super team of like really good agents. And that's Slow Horses. It's really good. I really love that show. I think it's 3 seasons now. Man, they crank the seasons out really quick because they do it in the British style, where each season is only 6 episodes. So happy birthday to you, Gary Oldman. I love you. Born on this day in 1974, Rhys Darby. Rhys Darby is a New Zealand comedian and actor. I love Rhys Darby. You don't know who he is, but I'm mentioning him because why not? If I can expose him to the people watching this show. Hey, Rhys Darby, first of all, if you're a fan of Flight of the Conchords, that show, remember that show on HBO? That's the first time I ever noticed Rhys Darby. He played the Flight of the Conchords manager, Murray, the totally incompetent New Zealand Board of Tourism guy who moonlighted as a rock and roll manager for the Flight of the Conchords. That guy, Murray. Murray was funny. He was also in What We Do in the Shadows. He in the film, he portrays the leader of the werewolves, not swearwolves. They don't use profanity. They're werewolves, not swearwolves. He's the leader of that group. But he's in a lot of Taika Waititi movies. He's in that he's in that stable of people. Jermaine Clement, all those guys. He's so funny. Reese Darby. Check him out if you don't know him. He's so funny. 1978, born on this day. What is it about this day? I gotta tell you, folks. We talked about Brad Hall, okay? We talked about how Brad Hall recognized what he had in Julia Louis-Dreyfus when many of us don't recognize when we have our own personal Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Brad Hall recognized that he had a Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And he dropped anchor, baby. He held on. He held on, and he's still holding on. And they are a lovely example of love. All right, now this guy we also need to elevate into the Brad Hall area, right? But he did it different. He did it more modern times. Brad Hall did it the way you had to do it back in 1980. Kevin Federline did it the way you had to do it back in 2005 or whatever. Kevin Federline. Happy birthday, Kevin Federline. You, sir, born on the same day as Brad Hall. What is that about? Kevin Federline recognized that he had his Julia Roberts, or his Julia Louis-Dreyfus, as Brad Hall recognized he had his JLD. Kevin Federline recognized his JLD in Britney Spears, and she bucked him off, man. She was like, no, you are a dirtbag. Something Julia Louis-Dreyfus didn't recognize in Brad Hall, because Brad Hall wasn't a dirtbag. They were at Northwestern, Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Brad Hall met between classes at Northwestern University. It's like so very... Where did Kevin Federline meet Britney? Doing coke in a bathroom on the Sunset Strip? I mean, you know what I mean? It's probably a little different way they met. But Kevin Federline couldn't hang on, okay? He doesn't get the in-person, up-close, boots-on-the-ground lifestyle advantages that a Brad Hall gets from staying with Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Kevin Federline got her pregnant, man. Twice! Kevin Federline cashing them checks for at least 18 years per kid. He's got that Britney money. Kevin Federline had nothing. I mean, what was Kevin Federline going to do? He was a street dancer. He's like a guy that danced on the streets for my... And now he's cashing checks monthly from Britney Spears International. I'm telling him. You need help to do. Okay, so with Brad Hall, the Brad Hall thing, the Brad Hall approach, that's all on you. You have to recognize, you have to be self-aware, and you have to recognize the special thing you have here and how to navigate a world with a special thing, right? You can't be an asshole guy. Kevin Federline, he just got her pregnant, which, apparently works too. That's so good for you. Happy birthday, Kevin Federline. Never worked a day in his life. All right, here's somebody who not only worked his ass off. Adrian Peterson celebrating a birthday today. A workhorse back if there ever was one. Terrible, terrible injury. Kind of changed his career, but he came back. Oh my God, and Adrian Peterson, what, he played another 10 years? Adrian Peterson, one of the most interesting and entertaining runners to watch. I don't know where Adrian Peterson will rank when all the dust settles, but I know that in my personal list of, greatest running backs that I've seen in my lifetime, Adrian Peterson might be top 10, and I've seen a lot of them. I mean, I'll start, like my ground zero is like Walter Payton, so I've seen everybody from Walter Payton till now, and there have been a lot of great running backs. Adrian Peterson, happy birthday to you. You're one of them. You are a dude, as they say. Born on this day, 1986. Scott Eastwood. Scott Eastwood is Clint Eastwood's son. Is that a tough shadow to be in if you want to be an actor? I don't know. Because Clint Eastwood's an icon. Like, I think you want, if this Nepo baby thing, if you heard the term Nepo baby. Nepo baby is a thing that people are talking about now out of Hollywood because it seems like everybody that's becoming really famous really quick lately is the child of somebody who is also famous, And I think that you only truly take advantage of being a Nepo baby if your parents are only A-list, and I say A-list, A-list is good. Don't get me wrong. But if they're only A-list, like, okay, I'll give you an example. We were watching video the other day of Bruce Willis and Demi Moore's home. All right, the children of Bruce Willis and Demi Moore, they take advantage of nepotism. That's pretty easy. Their parents, both famous, but whatever. Jamie Lee Curtis is a good example of someone who was able to do it. Her parents were A-listers. They were A-listers. They were important in their time, and they were important in their child walking into a casting session would receive special attention. Clint Eastwood is an A-list. Clint Eastwood is icon status. See, that's the hard one, right? And you know who's been able to do that well? Tom Hanks' kid. Because Tom Hanks is also icon status. Tom Hanks' kid, Colin Hanks, he's got a nice little career carved out for him, so it can be done. But Scott Eastwood, born on this day in 1986, not really, Scott Eastwood. He was they tried to make him a thing at one point. He's the bad kind of Nepo baby. He's a Nepo baby of an icon. And you want to be Bruce Willis's Nepo baby, not Clint Eastwood's, because there's just a difference. People will accept Bruce Willis's kid as an actor. Although I don't know, does Rumor Willis try to act? I don't know what her deal is. But people are more likely to accept Bruce Willis's kid as an actor because they'll be able to accept him. Like, oh, he kind of looks like Bruce. But Clint Eastwood's kid is just always going to be compared to Clint Eastwood, right? All right, there you go. Those are the birthdays. How about some deaths? How about some people that have died? These are the people that have died. These are the people that have died. Pocahontas died on this day in 1617. Algonquin indigenous princess that she was. She died on this day in 1617. Dead on this day in 2008, John List. Ooh, you guys know who John List is? Probably not, because, when you're good, they don't shout your name. John List might be the great... Well, I'll put it to you this way. Have you ever seen Usual Suspects? Okay. The character of Kaiser Soze is based on John List. That's right. So John List is one of the people that they used for the inspiration of the Usual Suspects. International super criminal Kaiser Soze. He died today in 2008. Here, let me tell you a little bit of something about what he did, okay? John List, born on September the 17th, 25, because you probably don't know his name. Only if you're a weird serial killer type guy do you know his name. And that's why I know who he is and why I'm fascinated with his story. John List was an American mass murderer and longtime fugitive. On November 9th, 1971, he killed his wife, mother, and 3 children at their home in Westfield, New Jersey, and then disappeared. So one of the ways that he's been sort of told in pop culture. Remember The Watcher from a few months ago? That movie that was on Netflix? Or was it a series? Maybe it was a limited series. Margot Martindale was in it. I don't remember who else was in it. Bobby Cannavale was in it. I don't remember who else was in it. But it was good. Anyway, that was supposed to be John List's house, where in 1971 he killed his wife. So that's just the jumping off point of this dude. Let's see here. So he a mass murderer, longtime fugitive, killed his wife and kids in 71 in their Westfield, New Jersey home and then disappeared. He had planned the murders so meticulously that nearly a month passed before anyone suspected that anything was amiss. List assumed a new identity, remarried, and eluded justice for 18 years. He was finally apprehended in Virginia on June 1st, 1989, after the story of his murder was broadcast on the television program America's Most Wanted. After extradition to New Jersey, he was convicted on 5 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to years. List gave critical financial problems as well as his let's go down to his how he's been portrayed in media and stuff. Television, film, and pop culture. Over the years, List and his crimes have furnished inspiration for documentaries, television dramas, and feature films. Examples include Savior, Season 6, Episode 16 of the series Law and Order, 1987. The Stepfather film is based on elements of the List story. Is that the one with Mark Wahlberg, The Stepfather? The 1993 Judgment Day, the John List story, where Robert Blake plays him. Oh, look at that. Robert Blake played John List. Robert Blake killed his wife, Bonnie Bakley. Look at that. And the character Kaiser Soze in the 1999 film The Usual Suspects is based on John List. Woo, okay. All right. In 2008, John Walsh, the host of America's Most Wanted, donated the age-progressed bust by Frank. Anyway, there you go. John List died on this day. Oh, here you go. Oh, let's see. The movie A Killer Next Door is based on him. New Jersey Advanced Media. Also, in 2022, Netflix released a 7-part dramatic fictional miniseries called The Watcher. Although it is a work of fiction, much of the character John Graft was borrowed from the story of John List. Much of John Graft's story was identical to the details in the accounting of the John List murders. All right, there you go. So there you have it. On this day, we lost one of the I don't know, scariest dudes, I guess, out there running around. Also, on this day, 2017, Chuck Barris died. Chuck Barris is an interesting guy. So he's a wackadoo. He's always been a wackadoo. That's why he was funny on TV. You ever see The Gong Show? If you see The Gong Show, he's the host of The Gong Show. He's a wackadoo. He wrote a book, an autobiography, a memoir about how he was also a CIA agent. Like the whole time The Gong Show was going on, how he was fighting behind the scenes of the Cold War and keeping America safe from Soviet aggression and all that stuff. They made a movie about it. But here's the thing. It was a bit. His memoir was a bit. He just didn't tell anybody it was a bit. So he's like, okay, I'm going to write my life story. And he just wrote this like amazing, where he's James Bond. And many, many people believe it. You know, Chuck Barris was also a super spy. I know Chuck Barris wrote that he was a super spy. Yeah, he wasn't a super spy. His life and career in Hollywood is well documented. He can be accounted for at all of these. Yet in the book, during his life as a super spy, he was in Prague for 6 months during a time when everyone knows The Gong Show was in production. So, whatever. But it's funny. Chuck Barris was a funny guy. All right, how do you feel about that? That's it. Those are the events of today. That's all the previously on March the 21st. That's that. We've done the birthdays. We've done the deaths. Are you ready to get into the nuts and bolts of what's happening today? I feel like I got to refresh. What's going on with Trump? I don't know. I wrote this. I have this first story here about the Trump thing. It's 4 hours old. I don't even know if it's any good anymore. Indicted? Is there anything going on? I'm not even watching the news. I figure it's going to pop up on Twitter before it'll pop up anywhere else. Okay, so let's do that. Let's check this out. We all know the New York DA. Oh, God. So today was supposed to be, they're coming for me. That's what he said. He put out on Truth, the former president put out on Truth Social. They're coming for me. I'm going to be arrested on Tuesday. To which I was like, wait, you haven't even been indicted yet, man. They can't just arrest you. We're going to hear about the indictment first. And I'm watching the media, like the media all day yesterday and all night. They're like, well, if he is arrested, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, why are you guys being dishonest? What do you mean arrested? Why is he's not indicted yet? You're playing into this, ginning them up. It's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. What has happened? I don't know. Let's see here. Just announced. That's not. Oh, God. Do I dare tap on the Trump arrest hashtag? Let's go to the latest. Let's see. This is going to be just ugly. Still hasn't been arrested. Probably won't be. We've been duped. Hashtag Trump arrest. But he's got to be indicted first. He's got to be indicted. You can't. And look, yes, in this particular case, we would hear news of the indictment first. Okay, a lot of times you wouldn't because we just don't care. But there's a billion reporters focused entirely on the outcome of whatever happens next. So we're going to hear, and we haven't heard that yet. Let's see. Are there any gatherings of people waiting for an arrest? I mean, that's what I thought was kind of silly about this whole thing. Anyway, I decided, despite the way we're all being ginned up by the media, thank you, Barney. Barney, you keep me informed. We could do a whole show on this, right? Because if this is in fact history, I'm going to want to be documenting it, and you people want you hanging out with me when I do it. So thank you. But I can't spend. This is stupid. Let's just, you know what I mean? Let's just move on. You guys in the chat room will let me know if something happens. I'm refreshing Twitter. You guys know that I don't like to talk about Trump or Biden, right? Those are names that you don't hear a whole lot on this show. Sometimes it's unavoidable because it comes up in just unavoidable news. But I'm sure as shit not going to sit around here. I will say this. Let me say this about it, okay? I'll say this. So one of the complaints that I'm hearing from people who are defending the former president, one of the complaints that I'm hearing is that it's unfair and that it's overcharging and that he's being overcharged. And I'm hearing this from lawyers. Well, this is it. I mean, these are really, he's being overcharged here. This is not overcharged. And that's what they're saying. And everyone's concerned about him being overcharged. And I'm like, I remember the last time I got a speeding ticket. I got 2 extra tickets, like 2 extra bullshit overcharged tickets. And then I think about, every time some dude on a street corner gets arrested and hauled in, how they find all of these other overcharging. This could be the idea that President Trump is being overcharged. And I'm not saying that he is or he isn't. I don't know. I'm not a legal scholar. But the overhanging issue, really, of overcharging within our justice system is a problem that a lot of people have been complaining about for a very long time. Looking at you, Black Lives Matter. That's one of their main issues. The overcharging for crimes that occurs every single day within the black community, for sure, according to Black Lives Matter. That's one of their issues. But with you and me too, man. With you and me too. They find whatever they can charge it for because it's all about getting that tax money and all about getting those fines and a new stop sign down on Main Street and new tires for the police cruiser. That's what it's all about, the overcharging. So I want to say to people who are recognizing that Trump is being overcharged on the right, who maybe used to say to people who would say, overcharging's a problem. Welcome to the party, rich guys on the right. Come on in. Rich guys on the right. Come on in. Yeah, I know. Overcharging, right? It's just funny. It's like, here we go. If we're in a bar, we could take like the most MAGA person in the world today, and we can just grab a random Black Lives Matter spokesperson. We could put them in a bar, and they would get along on the issue of overcharging in the federal and municipal systems. We could absolutely, because this is New York. This is New York. This isn't like you can't parse this by going, well, the overcharging of a gangbanger just so, that's different. That's at a city level. This is at a city level. This is New York City. This is the New York DA. So, yeah, overcharging's a problem. So that is, now, and I will also say this to the people on the left who are like, oh boy, they are salivating, man. They are like, ooh, I can't wait. Oh, they're going to put them in it. To those people, I would say, you're telling on yourselves. That's just vengeance. Your desire to see this guy perp walked in a jumpsuit in handcuffs. That's not sincere. That's not real. That's not authentic. That's vengeance. That's you. You want to see that for your own personal value. You want to see that because that's going to make you feel good. But is it the right thing? I don't know. Let's talk about the overcharging again. Is that the right thing? Look, I know how it feels. I got a lot of friends who hate Trump so much. And I never introduced them to my friends who love Trump so much because, that's like, you can't do that. That's not good. But I have friends who hate Trump so much, and they're just like, this is awesome. And I'm like, okay, all right. What if he walks? Then what? Then how you get? See, I don't know enough about the law. And, I can hear people say things like, well, this is, a matter of bookkeeping, really. And it's not a the idea that he could face jail time for this. And then the guy next to him goes, well, there have been 15 executives with companies in the Fortune 400 over the last 10 years who have been sentenced to prison time for the exact same thing. So there's that. See? What? So now let's even the playing field on the idea of overcharging, right? So you got Trump here, he did something, and now they're saying there's a whole bunch of other executives who have done time in club, Fed or at that level or, another. I guess the interesting difference is that this is the city of New York as opposed to the feds bringing these charges. But non-famous rich white guys who do this throughout time have gone to jail before. Not all of them, but they have. So now, because it's a really famous rich guy, are we supposed to go, hey, wait a second. You know, there's probably some guy who ran a chain of tire shops outside of Boulder, Colorado, who's been in jail for the last 6 months going, wait a second, because I'm not famous, I go to jail for the same kind of crime? And this guy is just going to be, now we're worried about overcharging? I don't know. But again, didn't want to spend a whole lot of time on this. And here we are. China is trending today. China is trending, and I want to talk about China here because yesterday we were all clutching our pearls. I know I certainly was over the idea that China and Russia were making some kind of a alliance formal on the world stage. And if you remember, if you were with us yesterday, I said that the main thing that concerned me about this particular meeting between Putin and Xi Jinping was that Ping went to Putin. That this is that thing when you're doing business with people and it's like, who has hand in the meeting? The person who has hand, meaning advantage in the meeting, is the person whose office you're in. So if you're going to their office, they're the leader of the meeting. If they're coming to your office, they're being, docile. They're showing up and they're in your... So it was very interesting to me that Ping went to Putin's office. That was scary. That's why I was like... Rah, rah, rah. So apparently the rest of the world also noticed that, and the rest of the world had some, questions about it. So China, and this is why China is so weird. China is so Chinese media are portraying that Ping going to Putin as an example of how now China will rule the Western world. They're trying to spin it like, okay, for audiences in China, Xi Jinping's visit to Russia this week was a show of strength and a testament to Beijing's bid for overall global leadership. So it's like they're showing the picture of him shaking Putin's hand at the Kremlin. This is Chinese newspaper, Chinese media, showing the picture of Ping in Moscow, in the Kremlin, shaking hands with Putin. They're showing that picture. And they're saying, look, proof that China will dominate the world. So China is trying to let its people know that, hey, just because he went to his office doesn't mean that we're somehow now second fiddle to them. He's like, we are in China. Now, how will Putin react? Putin doesn't want that because in this, apparently the way the media in China is spinning it is Putin's their bitch. And look at this, here's proof of it. Even though the rest of the world is going, but you went to his office. That doesn't really suggest that he's your bitch. Anyway, so gotta keep an eye on that. Look, I never thought that I could make Chinese-Rus relations a big part of my day, but I actually have a Google alert for it now, so the world we live in. What else is happening? Home prices. Oh, we got some home prices news. Home prices fell in February for the first time in 11 years. For the first time in 11 years, U.S. sales of existing homes jumped 14.5% from the prior month. So sales jumped, but prices fell. Good news! Home sales are up. Of course, the people selling those houses, you and me, what we got for them is way in the shitter. Those prices are cascading, but we're so desperate given the economic times that we are all collectively taking losses on our home sales and selling them to those big home buying groups and corporations. That's what's going on, man. You've seen this, right? I don't want to get into this. This isn't a big thing, but the whole home sales mortgage industry, it's turning into a weird thing, man. I don't know where this is going to be, man. I don't know where this is going to be in 5 years, man. But when corporations are now buying like 500 home sites in a newly developed, and then renting those houses, like the home, the last thing that we, the people, have is our plot of land in our home. And it's becoming more and more difficult. Homes are all being snatched up by these corporations. You see them everywhere. You go in these new developments. Especially Texas is an incredibly good example, especially North Texas. You go up north, drive around these new developments, and you'll see all of these for sale signs. All of them. and they all have the same for sale, right? But those houses are already sold. Those houses have been built. Those houses have been decorated. They're ready for sale. They're ready for move-in. It's because some company bought all those houses, and now you can rent. Look, hey, if you're a renter, that's good. There's going to be a lot more rental opportunities. But the idea that there seems to be this movement from taking away the one last thing that we the people have, which is our own property. And I wouldn't even say that it's a snail's pace, because over the course of the last 2 years or so, this has really become a big thing. And guess who's buying up a lot of these homes in America? China! That's right, China. Chinese corporations. It's a new world. Look, it's a new world. And this isn't special. It's certainly a new world through my lens. I'm a middle-aged man. But it's not special or unique to me. Everybody who has become a middle-aged man has seen the world change. It's just about the lens we view the world through. And what lens we view the world through is entirely determined by where we came from. So we see the world a little bit differently than people who are younger, who don't have, I don't know, trying to keep up. But China being my landlord in Cleveland, I don't know about that. That doesn't sound right. Yet that seems to be completely normalized now, because everything I once thought was absolutely vulgar and objectionable now seems to be normalized. Whatever. And I mean everything. Okay, let me try and calm down now, because we're going to watch some video. The Uvalde situation, Robb Elementary School. It's trending again because some new video was released. Now, you folks in the chat room, if you want to see this video, here's what I can promise you about it. I'm going to play it. We're going to watch it. We're going to have some thoughts on it. It's not overly graphic, right? So don't worry about that. You're not going to see anything that I wouldn't want you to see, because I'm a pussy with that stuff. I mean, if you're new, people will tell you. I'm not, I don't like to show that stuff. I don't need it. As a matter of fact, last night I told you I'm watching on Hulu. I'm watching the Chippendale murder. It's like one of these true crime thing. Apparently the Chippendale dancer company, there was like a murder and stuff like that. So I'm watching the thing, and they showed crime scene photos from the murder. And I had to fast forward. I just fast forwarded through it. I don't want to see that. But this Uvalde thing is, it was emotionally wrenching for me. You know what? We'll just play it, and then we'll talk about it. Because if I tell you what I felt about it, then, you know what? This better work. Shit. Hold on, guys. I've been having some issues here. So let me do this. If you were with us last night, for some reason I stopped being able to share things, and I really hope that's not a problem. All right, give me a second. How's your day going? Anybody get arrested? Anybody of note get arrested yet? Or at the very least, indicted? Haven't heard about it. Let's see. There we go. Okay, let's try this. All right. Don't forget, you can join us tonight on Pugs and Parker for a sit-down conversation with former Live 105.3 host, producer, former Freak host of the Treehouse, Dan O'Malley. That's tonight at 9 o'clock, right here on the Radio Misfits podcast platform and live streaming. Hold on. Is this going to work? Okay. Did it work? Yay! It works. Okay, so here's new.
Calling this up.
Let's watch this. It's 3 minutes, and I want to watch it because I think it's important to watch most of it anyway. These are all body cam and conversations among the police in Uvalde while the shooting is going on. You hear shots. Now, that's one of the reasons why I warned you, because, you know, if you take the next step when you hear those shots, your mind probably leads you to a kid being on the other end of the bullet, and that's a real possibility. So that's why I warn you. You'll hear shots coming from the room, but that's about the extent of the disturbing. Actually, that's not true. That's the. There's a whole lot of disturbing stuff about this. So let's watch it. This is what the cops were saying to each other while this guy was killing kids in the classroom. And I hate to put it like that, but that's kind of the reality. Here we go.
What sticks out in my mind was the amount of smoke, gun smoke that was inside the hallway. And I told the guys, hey, be careful, we're in the kill zone. Because I knew he had shot through the walls.
Careful, guys, shot fire.
I'm just waiting for those rounds to hit me. Right when we got to where we thought he was at, then gunfire. You know, I knew too, it wasn't a pistol. I knew it was a rifle. I was like, shit, it's a rifle. The way he was shooting.
Take cover, guys.
He's probably going to take all of us out.
Take.
Cover.
I have a male subject with an AR.
You know what kind of gun?
No, man, the AR. He has a battle rifle. Does he really?
What's the safest way to do this? I'm not trying to get clapped out.
Me neither.
You knew that it was definitely a AR 223 round. You could see the shell casings. We had no choice but just to wait and try to get something that had better coverage where we could actually stand up to him.
I called for long rifles, I know that. I don't know what words I used, but I knew we needed to get a whole bunch of those over there because I didn't have one, and I don't recall if Lieutenant Martinez even had one when we walked up.
Stop my truck, take out my AR, get it ready. You know, I know there's schools going on. Mm-hmm. You know, I should be shooting. I need my AR.
Man, safe.
All right, you see that? So the initial delay for storming that room and taking that son of a bitch out and saving those little kids' lives, the initial delay was because the police felt they were outgunned. Even though, man, I mean, come on, we're looking at how many cops are we seeing? And this is just inside. Imagine outside. Outgunned. Okay. So then they wait. They wait for the appropriate weaponry to be delivered to the hundreds of police officers who are gathered. And then this right here is real disturbing. So even after receiving the hundreds of guys with weapons that could now blow this dude up, despite being armed with virtually the same rifle as the gunman, officers did not confront him for over an hour.
Careful, brother.
Ah!
He shot Javi through the door.
Had anybody gone through that door,
Yes, sir.
he would have killed whoever it was.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we can only carry so many ballistic vests on you. That 223 round would have gone right through you and through the door.
I want to get the door open. What am I going to do? It might as well be paper.
Did you hear those shots? He's not shooting at cops. He's shooting in the room. He's executing children.
I don't think it's ballistic though, but I got one more. You guys want another one? There's one more outside.
I caught for a shield.
Executing children. And fucking Meal Team 6 is afraid to go through the door. Not everybody should be a cop. We need more heroes. We need people. I don't know that I could do it. I don't know if put in this situation how I would react. You know, that's the mettle of the man under pressure. You can only know how you'd react when you're there. I'll bet you these guys at the bar the night before could tell a big story about what they do if one of them sons of bitches took over a school classroom. You know they talked that bullshit. And then the rubber hit the road for these guys, and they sat there while children were being executed. Parents on the outside were trying to drive their vehicles into the school. Parents were, give the fucking guns to the parents, assholes. This is one of the most frightening and disturbing things because I come from a family of cops. I grew up around cops. All I've ever had in my life were cops, retired cops, current cops, cops on the job. My mom was with the state police for 20 plus years. Cops, cops, cops. I know good cops and I support the cops. But even good cops will tell you, man, there are a lot of people that shouldn't be cops that are cops. They will tell you that. So I don't know what to do. Get better cops? How do we make it harder? Do we pay them more? Maybe we get a better class of person? I don't even know. I have no idea. But these cops stood there. They were afraid. Did you hear the one guy go, I ain't trying to get clapped out? You're a fucking cop. When you sign up and cash the community's tax paycheck, kind of the job is, save the kids. That's kind of, I know it's cool sitting in the parking lot with your window down and the hot high school girls going, hi, Officer Bryant. I know that's cool. Oh, you love it too. When you walk into that party, that teenage keg party and all those kids run. I know the kind of shit you get into down there in Uvalde. But when real fucking police work was required, you did nothing. Absolutely nothing. I ain't trying to get clapped out. Man, I ain't going in there with that gun. We need to get some guns. You get us some guns. Okay, so here you go. Here's your guns. I don't know how many kids died while we were waiting for guns, but let's move in right now. Here's your guns. An hour later. All right, we got the guns. What do you want to do? I think our next move is to sit tight for an hour while kids are killed inside. All right, I'm down with that. That's what they did.
But our shields are, I don't think they're AR rated. They're more handgun rated. They're lightweight. I mean, without maybe a ballistic, I feel like we're in that fatal funnel. Over there, we're going to get killed,
All right, so now this is interesting what this officer says about it. Because this is very real. This is us only pretending to back the blue. These fuckers don't have shields that can stop rifles that are readily available on the street and are probably going to be used by criminals. They don't have shields. These shields, they'll only block handgun bullets. Okay, Second Amendment. I like it. We're fine. We're supporting the Second Amendment and all of that good stuff so people can have their guns. We're going to have to raise taxes, though, because we got to make sure that our police officers have the proper equipment. And I know we got a deal on these bullshit little 22 stopping police shields, but we're going, because we're not taking guns away from you. You're going to be able to keep it. But we need more tax money because now every police department in America has to be equipped with this sort of, see what I'm saying? See, they got some bullshit fucking, dude, they didn't want to charge the door with their shields because they're bullshit shields, because they don't fucking work.
Bortax showed up and they had this humongous shield. I mean, it was a thick shield. Once they went in, we heard a lot more gunfire. Then all I heard was they said that the shooter was down.
We're going to get scrutinized. I'm expecting that. We're going to get scrutinized why we didn't go in there. I know what the firepower he had based on what shells I saw, the holes in the wall in the room next to his. And I know this is horrible, and I know this is what our training tells us to do, but we haven't contained. There's probably going to be some deceased in there, but we don't need any more from out here.
There it is. That's the one gun. That's the one gun. That's the one weapon that caused hundreds of police to just be frozen in their steps while children were executed in a classroom. And when I say children, I mean little ones. These were the good ones. These were the little ones. These are the cute ones. These aren't the little punk-ass teenagers. These are the cute ones. They just stayed outside. Now, I understand. I understand. Like, I get it. It's why I say that maybe not everybody should be police. Maybe not everybody is cut out for it. I know I'm not. And I don't know, in the moment, I get it. I get the human being response of, man, that dude's just like, crank it up. Get. This dude, I can't. I've got this little pea shooter. What am I supposed to, I'm not trying to die today. Okay, we're going to try and give you desk duty for the rest of your career, but that attitude is really not the kind of heroics we're looking for. But we're also not looking for the crazy guy who's like, I'm looking to die today. We don't want that guy either. I don't know. Again, in this situation, we had parents who were ready to go in. I mean, okay, give mom a Kevlar vest and give mom one of those ARs that the feds brought. Mom, you want to go get little Susie? She's like, goddamn right I do. And then mom will go in there fucking Rambo style. Take that mother, and while, she'll have to wade through hundreds of cops who will be blocking the doorway. But yeah. Unbelievable. Shitty shields, tiny little pea shooter guns. I mean, that is the unfortunate reality of how we need to support the police. The police can't be outgunned in these kinds of situations. And first of all, who are we kidding? The police have been outgunned for 30 years. This isn't a new issue. This has been a problem for a very long time about cops and the weaponry that they have versus the weaponry on the streets. So if we're going to have that weaponry on the streets, then we got to outfit our cops more and more like military style. That's the evolution of the modern American police officer is an incredible thing to look at. When I first came into this world and I saw Mr. Policeman and I saw Officer Friendly for the very first time, the motherfucker was wearing a tie. Dude was wearing police uniforms, used to be dress shoes, black pants, blue shirt, black tie, badge, epaulettes or whatever, a tie. Have you seen a police officer in 2023 who's just conducting a traffic stop? He has got the vests and he looks modern, I guess. I guess it's kind of cool. And those hats, remember the hats the police used to wear? Those wildly impractical hats, the police hat? I'm a cop from the 1980s, or 70s, or whatever. They don't wear those hats anymore either. They don't wear those hats. They don't wear ties. The other thing about policing, and now we're going down a rabbit hole. Unless it's a specific team, you know what a big policing lie is? Cops don't ride around with partners. Like patrol officer cops, they don't ride around with a partner. Like in every TV show and every movie that you've ever seen, it's always been, all right, let's go, we're riding tonight. And it's always like a cop and his partner, and they're both just patrol guys, and they're patrolling the big city. That's a device for movies and TV so that the cop has somebody to talk to. In real life, that doesn't happen. It's one cop. That's why 50 of them show up for, your broken taillight pullover. Because they all come one at a time. Bloop, 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 bloop. That Uvalde video is really distressing. I don't know. We've all moved on, right? I mean, isn't that us? Isn't that what we do? We've all kind of moved on from that, so we probably haven't thought about Uvalde really in a year, and that's probably good. That's probably for our own self-preservation, I would imagine. And what a terrible thing to dwell on. I understand that. But man, then this video gets released, and we see again, the cops, in their own words, after the fact, saying, yeah, I didn't want to die. I didn't want to go in there. I didn't want to. You know what? Those kids didn't want to die either. But unfortunately, they live in a community, and, part of the deal is that the police, you guys, serve and protect. Where was the protecting? Where was the protecting? Serve and protect. There was no protecting on that day. I mean, I don't know. Well, what, do you want a cop to die? I want a cop not to be afraid to die. That's what I want. I want a cop who is willing in that moment, not all the time. I want one human being who is wearing a badge in that moment. Just one human being to go, you know what, fuck this, it's got to stop, and I'm willing. And just going for it. Just because you know what, that guy, who's willing to do that? Heroes. That's who. That's who. Heroes are willing to do that. Maybe it works out for him, maybe it doesn't. I'll tell you, if it does work out for him, the dude is a rock star for life. He is like the hero of the hero. And if he dies in the effort, his remaining family will be taken care of. There'll be a lot of love. There'll be a GoFundMe that asks for $5,000 that gets $50 million. They'll be fine. Modern world has a way of, not one of them, not one cop in that Uvalde video that we just watched was willing to do that. They were all just like, man, I gotta pick up my kid from school at 3:30. You know what I mean? It was all that stuff. It's tough being a cop. Not for those guys though. Those guys just stop being cops when it gets difficult. They turned into hall monitors. Do you see them? That's all they were doing. Get back! Get back! Can I see your bathroom pass? That's what they turned into. Bang, bang! Get back! Get back! Do you have a pass to be out of class? Unbelievable. All right, how about something else that's unbelievable, though, but equally as fun and just equally as fun. It's bad. That's what happens when you stream of consciousness. See, that's how this is. I have some notes, some bullet points, and then the rest of this is all just me streaming. There's nothing funny. This is fun. This is fun. This is actually something. What I meant to say was, here's a little change of pace that will. All right. World Baseball Classic. You guys, we got an opportunity tonight. We got an opportunity tonight to just have fun, to come together. World Baseball Classic final set for today. You got the United States of America, defending champion, Team USA of the World Baseball Classic, taking on the number 1 ranked team in the world. Coming into this tournament, the United States, defending champions, were ranked 3rd. Japan. Japan out there trotting out Shohei Ohtani. Japan has this. I'm going to show you what Japan has. Let me show you this. This is fun. Oh, no, actually, here. Japan played Mexico yesterday in the semifinal of the World Baseball Classic. And I've been telling you guys, I've been saying, man, the only thing missing from this World Baseball Classic is the pitch clock. If they could just speed it up the way spring training games have been sped up so far this year. I watched a 2-hour and 15-minute Ranger game the other day. 2 hours and 15 minutes for 9 innings of baseball. And dude, it was a pitcher's duel. It was a 2-hour and 15-minute pitcher's duel. Those games usually go 3.5, 3:45. The pitch clock is beautiful. I love it. They don't use it in the WBC, the World Baseball Classic, but they do. So Mexico was playing Japan. America had already advanced with our. So do I have this working? So America was sitting and waiting to see who we were going to play here in the finals. Mexico looked like they had it in hand. It was 3-0 early. Well, let me see if I can get this. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to talk while doing something else. All right. So here, check this out. This is pretty cool. It's from last night's World Baseball Classic. Mexico was up 3-0, and then Japan came roaring back. And here we go. This is how it ended.
He can get a huge lead. Cracked in the air, deep center field. Thomas on the move. It's off the wall. Ohtani's in to score. Here comes the winning run. Japan turns it around on its last breath.
Come back. Last breath. Walk off. And it's Ohtani who runs across home plate. Look at Team Mexico. God love him. Oh, hey, that's the greatest ball player in the world right there, bar none. Might be the Michael Jordan of baseball.
At all.
Oh, what a game. Okay, so that sets up tonight. Let me show you something else, though, while I got this all working. Yeah. Team USA, number 3 and defending champion. We're going after, there we go. We're going after Team Japan. Look at this. I wanted to show you guys this. Check this out. Okay. God. All right. Just watch this pitch. Watch this Japanese dude. Watch this pitch. This might be the most beautiful pitch I've ever seen in my life. And it's coming at you and breaking right across the plate at 102 miles per hour. Like I said last night, we gave the world the game of baseball, and they freaking ran with it, man. They are every bit as good. This isn't like, the dream team, right? When we played basketball against the rest of the world in 92 and cleaned their clocks. No, man. Watch this pitch.
At all.
Watch how gorgeous
he can get a huge lead. Cracked in the air, deep center field. Thomas on the move.
All right, I fucked up. All right, that was my bad. I'm sorry. How about this one? This is a fun one. This is the Japanese. This is a... Oh, for crying out loud. Sorry, guys. I'm having some computer issues here. Everything is buffering, and I don't know why that is. Let me just try and redo this. Oh, there we go. I got it. Thank you. No. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Check this out. I know. We're gonna do the Dan O'Malley interview, but I'm gonna be focused on World Baseball Classic. All right. So here, this is the Japanese home call of that walk-off home, or not walk-off home run, walk-off double that scored Ohtani. Listen to this. Now, look, man, I don't know what the hell they're saying, but this sounds fun. These people, they love their baseball. I love it. Baseball is dying in America. It is not dying in other places around the world, man. It is not. They are crazy for baseball around the world. Tonight's game will be the most watched baseball game in history. The most watched single baseball game in history came currently, or at least before this tournament, was in 1980. It was the 1980 World Series. It was like Game 5 or something of the 1980 World Series. 54 million people watched the 1980 Game 5, we'll say, World Series. It's the largest audience that ever tuned in for a single baseball game. Tonight's game is expected to go over 80 million people globally. It's going to shatter it. And not because of America, man. I mean, we're talking because of China. We're going to Japan and the East and South America and Central America. I don't know. It's really great. It's really been fun. It has been. And tonight's game, if you're a baseball fan who's kind of like me and you're kind of upset at the way, you know, baseball, American Major League Baseball has acted over the past 20 plus years, but are encouraged, as I am, with the whole, pitch clock, and I love the Ghost Runner. I love the innovations. I love the new innovation. Watching the world, but you've been a little bit bummed out. Like, baseball, it's not as fun anymore. I'm telling you, you guys tune into this game. It's going to be like an international soccer match. The crowds are insane. These people that have traveled around the world to cheer on their teams at the World Baseball Classic love baseball in a way that can only be, I guess, compared to the way Americans maybe loved baseball in 1950. You know what I mean? I mean, it is crazy, and it's nice, and it's fun. So there you go. Treat yourself. I don't even care who you root for. See, that's the great thing. I love Shohei Ohtani. Right? But I can't really root for Shohei Ohtani tonight because Shohei Ohtani is going to be pitching I don't know, is Shohei pitching? I don't think so. No, they're going to want his bat. So he's, anyway, I got to root for my guys. Got to root for my Team USA. It's going to be fun. And the players, man, I'll tell you, here's the other thing. I was concerned because a whole bunch, and all of our teams have been pilfered spring training. My team, the White Sox, they've been a whole bunch of players. We lost a whole bunch. A whole bunch playing for Cuba. We got a bunch playing for Team America. We got a bunch playing for Venezuela. We got some playing for the Dominican. You know what I mean? I mean, our team is like, all of our starters are missing because they're all playing in the World Baseball Classic. So my concern was, oh, great. They're all going to go out there and they're going to leave it all. Man, no, I'm totally fine with it because some of my team's best stars have been just crushing it in the World Baseball Classic. And I'm like, mid-season form already, baby. I just hope that when the regular season starts, that this isn't going to be a letdown, right? Like they're going to suck for the first 2 months of the season because they left it all out there in the World Baseball Classic. That's the other thing that, I don't know that we truly recognize. I mean, do you know what a baseball game between the nation of Japan and the nation of South Korea is like? That's huge. That's huge. Do you know what a baseball game between the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico is like? Huge, man. We're talking if they could sell 200,000 tickets to that game, they'd sell all 200,000 tickets. So, I mean, in other parts of the world, people are fanatical about baseball. And seeing this year's presentation of the World Baseball Classic after 5 years of it being away, it only happens every 4 years like the Olympics, but it was delayed 1 year because of the pandemic. So it's been 5 years. 5 years since the last time we've seen this. And to see baseball being just celebrated and loved and treated, just presented in a way that I haven't seen Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball presents itself like it's a fucking a product. And it is a product. But baseball, I think, for a lot of people is more than just a commodity or a product. I think it's an emotion. I think it's a sentiment. I think it's a feeling. I don't even look at baseball like a regular sport. I can put a baseball game on if I want to go to sleep. It's comforting. It's soothing. So anyway, tonight, Team USA taking on Japan for the World Baseball Classic title, and it is a true matchup of the powers. It is the defending champion and number 3 ranked team taking on this year's number 1 ranked baseball team in the world, Team Japan. Ooh, you know what it's got a little bit for me? Remember when the Bad News Bears went to Tokyo to play that Japanese team? Remember that? And they were like all tall and thin. They all looked like a whole bunch of Shohei Ohtanis. That's but see, here's the thing. Our Bad News Bears have, Trey Turner and Tim, and our Bad News Bears are fine. Okay. Our guys have talent. So let's bring it. This is going to be good. By the way, there is this amazing pitcher on Team Japan he's like a 20-year-old kid. He's dropping these dimes at 102 miles an hour over the plate. And I'm like, oh my God, Jesus. So I did a little looking into him. He'll be in the major leagues in a year. He will be one of these guys who will never play minor league baseball. There's a few guys who are able to do that. This is one of those kids who will never play minor league baseball. He'll probably do one more year in the Nippon League, which is the premier league of Japanese baseball over there. He'll do one more year in the Nippon League, and then he'll get posted. And that's how it works. He's under contract. He's being paid a lot of money. That's the other thing, we need to recognize too about people, like a professional athlete in Japan. They've got baseball players who could very easily have come to the United States and played all-star level baseball in the United States who just didn't want to do that. We just assumed like every good Japanese baseball player came over to America because it was better. No, they want to dominate in their home country. And I don't know if you know this or not, Japan's got money. So when you're a big star celebrity baseball player for the Nippon Lions of the Tokyo, that guy's driving around in a Ferrari on Friday night with a supermodel girlfriend, okay? Just because he doesn't play in Major League Baseball doesn't mean that he isn't making $20 million a year. Because they do. They make that. The local players, the native-born players, they make big money over there playing professional baseball. So it's not like, this lesser league. We are seeing if Team Japan beats a team full of American Major League Baseball all-star players, I guess we can say Japanese baseball is no longer a lesser league. Because Team USA looks really good, but so does Team Japan. All right, what else do we have here? Let's see. Fox News is trending today. Fox News. Here's a fun Fox News. Did you see this? So some producer, it's a chick producer, some lady producer at Fox News quit. And, oh man, I don't know what happened. Look, I've worked in media rooms with ensemble groups of writers and producers and and then there's an editor and a boss and oh my God, someone over here in this corner has an idea and well, take it to Jeremy. And so she takes that across the room to Jeremy, who's in another department. He's like, yeah, let me hear it. And he's like, okay, let's kick that up to Bob. And then you take it up. So there's all kinds of politics and dynamics and weirdness that go on. But this chick, she left Fox, or she didn't leave Fox News, or no, she hadn't left Fox News. She was still working there, and she decided she was going to file a lawsuit against Fox News while still working there. And so the lawsuit's been filed. By the way, it was filed yesterday, made public last night. Fox News immediately suspended her from duties, which people are like I was reading some Twitter threads on this earlier today. People are like, oh, because she's filing this lawsuit, she's got to be suspended and sent out. I'm like, well, of course. What are you talking about? Yeah, of course. Which she should be allowed to stay there and what, be a distraction for everybody else. This is a problem. This became a huge news story. She can't be sitting here in the newsroom. We need to put out news. We need to work. Look at Fox News. This is called retaliation. To some degree, but mostly it's just, it's the front page of the New York Times. She can't be here today, okay? Relax. So anyway, here is an article that I found this morning. Crazy bitch. The 7 most explosive allegations against Fox News by an ex-Tucker Carlson producer who is currently suing the network. That's what it's titled. All right, so let's go through these. These are the 7 craziest claims. All right, these are the bombshells that this worker has been forced to sit through while working at Fox News. Let's see if you've noticed that I'm a little bit because prepare to be underwhelmed. And I'm telling you, although maybe I should be more sensitive, she may have been traumatized by some of this. Claim 1, she says that lawyers for Fox News set her and her boss, at the time, Maria Bartiromo, lawyers for Fox News tried to set her and Bartiromo up to take the fall for the network's coverage of the Dominion voting machine case. All right, so Fox News, who's in a lot of trouble now in the Dominion thing, they're going to have a lot of money, and peds are going to roll, all that good stuff. She is claiming that early on, Fox News had a legal strategy to blame it all on her and Maria Bartiromo. Maria Bartiromo because she was on air, and her because she was her producer. Claim 1. All right. I'm like, all right. I hope you got more, right? Because that one's not really moving the needle for me. Claim 2. Female Fox News employees were openly sexually harassed. What year is it? 2023. What's that you say? Fox News, there's sexual harassment. Have you not seen the half-dozen Hollywood films that have been produced on this subject over the past decade or so? Have you not seen... Did you not read Gretchen Carlson's book? Have you not heard what Megyn Kelly has had to say? This is like a big shock claim. Female Fox News employees were openly sexually harassed. Mrs. Grossberg says that she and other women endured frank and open sexism from coworkers and superiors at the network, which has been dogged for years by lawsuits and allegations about sexual harassment. Yeah, okay. So again, your first claim that lawyers tried to set you up, yeah, it's shitty, but you work at Fox News. You work in the apex of American media sausage-making machine. You really? So you're going to tell us that they got some bullshit lawyers there trying to pin people? Yeah, okay. Not big. That's claim 1. Claim 2, they were sexually harassed. Something that we already know. Claim 3, Fox News brass referred to Bartiromo as a crazy bitch. So, like, somewhere in a hallway, you saw, like, the vice president of marketing for Eastern Distribution, and he was talking to somebody as they came out of the bathroom, and he said, that Maria Bartiromo was a crazy bitch. That's your claim? That's a bad thing? According to the lawsuit filed by Mrs. Grossberg, Ms. Grossberg is the woman in question here, the producer who's been traumatized by her time at Fox News. According to lawsuits filed by Ms. Grossberg, Fox superiors called Mrs. Bartiromo a crazy bitch who was menopausal, and asked Mrs. Grossberg to cut the host out of coverage discussions. So what that means is, so the producer who's suing here, they hold like the editorial meetings and all of that kind of stuff about what's going to go on. We're going to be on the air here in an hour. What are we going to talk about? Okay, block 1, we're talking about this. So she's saying that her superiors at Fox News came to her and said, look, you got to limit crazy bitch menopausal Bartiromo's input on the show, okay? You got to do that. Now, as a creative who's been a producer and an executive producer, I would have a real problem with that because part of the reason that you hired me is because you don't know dick about how to do my job. So you, Mr. Bean Counter up there in the executive offices, if you think you've noticed something that might be a problem and I haven't already noticed it, then fire my ass because I'm not doing my job because you suck at this and you shouldn't be seeing things like... So, okay, so that would be a problem. that the executive branch would be meddling with the show. But that's nothing. That's not, so executive management, crazy bitch. It's a hurtful word. Okay, is that where we are? Is that where this is just all about hurtful words? Or is this about any kind of, tangible thing, like some sort of systematic oppression of people based on gender? Can you prove that? Because that's what I'm looking for, and that's not what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is a woman who probably got fed up and decided to just make a big stink on her way out the door. And these are your claims. This is what the New York Times led with on the front page today. Bombshell allegations against Fox News. Now, the true bombshell allegations against Fox News came a few weeks back in the Dominion trial. Those are actual, real bombshell. This is just some bullshit. Claim 4. Here's the fourth claim by this woman, who, by the way, lefties, before you make her a hero, you need to rally back. This fucking woman worked for Tucker Carlson for like 5 years, and before that, Bartiromo. She's just upset because she's not advancing at the evil sausage machine. You people don't like Fox News. She's a Fox News insider. These are just those people turning on each other. So for the left, stay out of this. It ain't your fight. She's bringing some bullshit charges. Claims, not charges. Claim 4, the workspace for Tucker Carlson tonight was adorned with photos of Nancy Pelosi in a bathing suit. Okay, of course it is. What? So what? So what? Bombshell, gonna take down Fox News. The workspace for Tucker Carlson tonight, they had these photoshopped pictures of Nancy Pelosi, but she was in a bikini. I don't know how I'm going to afford the therapy needed for that. What the fuck? Seriously. Bombshell. Claim 4. Claim 5. Claim 5 says, the lead producer of Carlson's show asked whether Bartiromo was having sex with Kevin McCarthy. Okay. The next day, here we go, Justin Wells, the producer for Tucker Carlson, called Mrs. Grossberg into his office, she said, to ask whether Mrs. Bartiromo was having a sexual relationship with the House Republican leader. That's office gossip. It's not weird that, a coworker who has a little bit of superiority to you might be like, hey, Grossberg, come here, come into my office, come here. Hey, is Bartiromo fucking McCarthy? That's it! That's what was just done! And she's like, I was traumatized by it, and it's just another example. Dude, that's office gossip. Seriously, if you can't hang and bang with that kind of conversation, you need to work from home. You need to stay completely online. Because if that's the kind of thing that you're going to put as Claim 5 in your big lawsuit against the rapid sexualization and abuse occurring at Fox News, if you're going to make that Claim 5, these claims get worse and worse. Hey, Grossberg, come here. Hey, dude, is Bartiromo and McCarthy a thing? What did you ask me? You're her producer. A buddy of mine called me. He was like, hey, dude, I saw Bartiromo. And I'm wondering. I'm like, oh, you know what? I know her producer. I'll ask. I'll find out. Are they a thing? What's wrong with that? Isn't that how coworkers gossip about shit? But for her, it's Claim 5 in an example of systematic abuse that occurs at Fox News. Claim 6, Carlson staffers often made wisecracks about Jewish people. Okay, all right, you got my attention here. All right. Although, Tucker Carlson spent the first 15 years of his career wearing a bow tie. Tucker Carlson comes from the Swanson frozen family empire. He's a prep school kid. He's a rich kid. He's as waspy as they come. The dude probably knows how to sail. He's like, oh, I go out sailing that's who Tucker Carlson. Those people hate Jews. I've always hated Jews. That WASP class, that mid-Atlantic American moneyed Rhode Island Yacht Club class that Joe Tucker Carlson, they've always had a problem with Jews. On the down low, though, because, they like them as, like the mob. They like them as lawyers and doctors and stuff like that. The important stuff, they trust the Jew, but everything else. So here's the claim. Carlson staffers often made wisecracks about Jewish people. All right, now that's an interesting way to put it too. Wisecracks. Not racial slurs. So let's get into this. Mr. Carlson's staff joked about Jews and freely deployed a vulgar term for women, according to the complaint. Mr. Carlson's staff joked about Jews. Joked about Jews. Okay. Did he joke about what? How? See, stream of consciousness is dangerous. I almost just said something. He joked about Jews. I joke about Italians. I joke about Greeks. You can joke about Jews. You can't joke about people. You can't be like, come on, man. As long as your intent is not to be hurtful, or as long as your intent is not to subjugate somebody, why can't we just acknowledge our differences? These are the things that make humans incredible. Aren't you glad everyone doesn't look like you? Aren't you glad everyone doesn't have the same skin tone as you? Aren't you glad that there's variety in the world and all kinds of interesting and unique looks? That have evolved over time based on whatever global positioning you are here, proximity to the sun and whatnot and all those things. I mean, that's fascinating to me. But not if you're Tucker Carlson, not if you're the heir to the Swanson family food dynasty, and you're out on your yacht. You're going to make some Jew jokes, but I don't get this. So Mr. Carlson's staff joked about Jews and freely deployed a vulgar term for women, according to the complaint. The C word. The C word. This is such a weird word. This is such a weird, why? I don't know why we here in the United States of America have given so much power to see you next Tuesday. I have no idea. Do you know how often it's used in England? In England and in Scotland and in Ireland and in Australia, every other English-speaking word or culture uses the see you next Tuesday word the way we use shit. It's not, it's a minor insult. Except here in America, you say it means something else. What is this? Somebody. Well, the name that's popping up is Sareva Livada. And it's got an international phone number. I feel like an international super spy. Should I answer it? Too late. I don't want to answer it. I got a new phone. I had to get a new phone. Ugh, my other phone was. And ever since getting the new phone, I've been getting these like weird calls. What is that about, AT&T? Explain that to me, AT&T. All right, claim 6. They made fun of Jews, or not even made fun of wisecracks. Made wisecracks about Jews, and she couldn't believe that they were using the word C, the C word, which Let's keep that lady out of some Premier League soccer stadiums, because she will hear that word a lot. But I got a message. Look at that. They gave me a message. All right, knock it off. I don't need that. Claim 7, Tucker Carlson's staffers held a mock debate to discuss whether they'd rather have sex with Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer or her 2022 Republican opponent, Tudor Dixon. This is a charge in court that guys can't have that debate. You can imagine how shocking this revelation is to me, a guy who worked 20 years in shock radio, to learn now in 2023 that a cornerstone conversation starter in the genre of shock radio is no longer allowed anywhere and is now something you could get sued over. That's actually pretty funny. Last fall, okay, so guys, these are frat boys. Who do you think Tucker Carlson is hiring? He's hiring a bunch of privileged East Coast frat boys. Okay, Tucker's like the Grand Poobah. He's got this team of little 23-year-old Tucker youths, we'll call them, little Tucker youths running around. And what do you think they're going to talk? Of course they're going to talk about. They're going to act like it's a frat house. That's not that bad. That is not that bad. Who would you rather be with? Who would you rather have sex with? Who would you rather is a normalized everyday thing. Now, is it appropriate? No, it's a bit vulgar, and you should probably, in the workplace, take a look over your shoulder and make sure that, you're having the conversation with the right group of people. But come on, really? This is another example of how, the workplace environment at Fox News, the systematic abuse and sexual harassment of women has been traumatic to her, and she now needs like $20 million. Really? That's 7? So that's it. That's all of them. Those are all the supposed bombshell claims against Fox News that were made today. Florida man, we got a Florida man story that's posting. I'm going to give you this because my partner, James Parker, who does the 9 p.m. show with me, Pugs and Parker with E, is now we're going to call it. James Parker has a Florida Man podcast that you should find on any of your favorite podcast places. Florida Man with James Parker. So here's a Florida Man story. I don't know if it'll be interesting. He might be. Man busted for slapping wife in the face with a slice of pizza. A Florida man slapped his wife in the face with a slice of pizza during an argument in their residence. According to cops who reported that the crime scene was splattered with pizza sauce. Police were dispatched. So here's what happened. And this is why I thought this story was interesting. Because there's, we're going to have to go to the tape on this. Although I don't think there was tape. Dude got arrested for getting in a domestic argument with his wife, right? Down in Florida. She says that he slapped her with pizza. I don't know how that works. Okay, it's Florida, so they're going to do New York cut there, so it's going to be the big triangle pieces, as opposed to like my favorite, which is tavern style, which is just the little squares. Pop them one at a time. Anyway, so it's like the big floppy New York style Florida pizza, okay? So she's saying that he picked up that triangle and just slapped her across, be gone, woman, and slapped her across the face. He's not saying that. He's saying, yeah, we were having a fight and I just threw the pizza at her. He said, I threw the pizza at her. That's why I didn't slap. And I tend to believe him in this story because I just don't know how are you going to slap somebody with a piece of, I suppose if you don't care that very early on in the slapping process, you're going to get a lot of sauce is going to fly around. That'll explain why the cops reported there being pizza sauce on the wall. Anyway, Florida man. It's a Florida man story. They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out down there. Florida does. They're good at that. Buster Murdaugh is trending. I want to talk about this a little bit. Buster Murdaugh. Remember his dad, the Murdaugh trial. We just came through it. His dad killed his mom. His dad killed his brother. His dad has just recently been sentenced to like multiple life imprisonments for those things. And now the whole world is looking at Buster. Why? Because Buster, according to a number of the documentaries that have been made in recent years about the Murdaugh family, Buster Murdaugh, the eldest son, Buster probably killed Stephen Smith a few years back. According to, if you just watched a number of the documentaries, Stephen Smith was a gay kid who lived in this community, and he was run down in the road one night. He was like 17 years old. He was just walking down the road and he was run down, and there's all kinds of moving parts with this story. And I'm sure that you know a little bit. And if you know anything about the Murdaugh story, you probably know about the Buster allegations. So now the whole world is wanting Buster to be charged, or at the very least, there to be a reopening of the Stephen Smith investigation from a number of years ago, which would be, it's, if you're looking at it as a murder, you can open that cold case whenever you want, and the heat is on. So it looks like they might be reopening the Stephen Smith investigation, at which point you'd have to believe that Buster Murdaugh, the eldest son, is going to be a primary suspect. They're not going to stop down there until they put all them Murdaughs in jail. Ain't that a bitch? The Murdaugh family, they have been running that low country region of South Carolina for 200 years now. There has been a Murdaugh in charge at the top of the legal system or in the solicitor's office or whatever. They've been, Dukes of Hazzard, Boss Hogg. They have been Boss Hogg of that area for 200 years. And now dad's in jail for life. And now the son, the last remaining son, they're looking at him. They're going to try and put him away too. So Buster Murdaugh is trending because Buster has had enough. Buster has put out a message about the whole Stephen Smith situation and all that he's gone through. And I'd like to read it for you now. Buster Murdaugh says, I have tried my best to ignore the vicious rumors about my involvement in Stephen Smith's tragic death that continues to be published in the media as I grieve over the brutal murders of my mother and brother. I love them so much, and I miss them terribly. Now, I haven't spoken up until now because I want to live in private while I cope with their deaths and my father's incarceration. But before, during, and since my father's trial, I have been targeted and harassed by the media and followers of this story. This has gone on far too long. These baseless rumors of my involvement with Stephen and his death are false. I unequivocally deny any involvement in his death, and my heart goes out to the Smith family. I am requesting that the media immediately stop publishing these defamatory comments and rumors about me. Thank you, Buster Murdoch. Very well said for a murderer. That's right. I don't buy that. The heat is on. Heat is on. Heat is on. That we're gonna put Buster in jail. Let's open that case. Let's go back into the Stephen Smith case. I need Murdoch trial, Murdoch family murder trial, season 2, and it's got to be Buster in the Stephen Smith case. Got to be. Cameron Diaz is trending. Hey, you guys, seriously, how fucking weird is this? Do you guys know that Cameron Diaz retired from acting in 2013? She retired like 10 years ago. She retired. Cameron Diaz apparently stopped acting 10 years ago, and nobody noticed. That's not... Well, what happened? She hit 40. That's what happened. Or, somewhere around there. I'm sorry to tell you, that's the truth. That's how the Hollywood system works. Cameron Diaz was never really known for her chops as a dramatist. She was a beautiful woman who could do light comedy well and fill up a screen, and people liked her because she's charismatic. But, she's not... I'm trying to think of it. She's not Kate Beckinsale. She's not Kate Winslet. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know. She's not Meryl Streep. So I guess for an actress like that, once you fall into this weird zone where you can no longer play the ingenue and you're sort of aging yourself out of even being able to play the young, sexy, powerful woman executive. Yeah, that happens about 45. And you're too young still to be playing moms and grandmas. She retired. She hit that age group and she retired. And now she's back. That's right. Cameron Diaz is back, and she has joined a Jamie Foxx film that is coming out here. It's called, Anyway, she came out of her little self-imposed acting retirement, and she came to do a film with Jamie Foxx, and she did the film with Jamie Foxx, and the film's over, and she's retired again. That's right. She said it was such a bad experience. Let's see what this is about. Cameron Diaz reportedly quitting acting again after Jamie Foxx set meltdown. Apparently, Jamie Foxx was mean to people, and Cameron Diaz just could not handle it. After coming out of retirement to star in the new Netflix movie Back in Action, it seems that Cameron Diaz is ready to give up acting again. Cameron Diaz retired from acting to concentrate on doing something she fell in love with more than being in front of the camera, being a mom. However, the actress was recently coaxed back to the industry by Jamie Foxx, who encouraged her to take a role in Netflix's Back in Action. However, a new report has suggested that Diaz is retiring again after completing her commitment to the movie after Fox is alleged to have had an absolute meltdown on the set that resulted in the firing of people from the production. Diaz previously ended her acting career in 2014 after appearing in the movie Annie. And let's see, she has stayed out of the spotlight since with no movie or TV appearances until joining the Fox-led Back in Action. Now it seems her acting return has been short-lived for a handful of reasons, as well as citing Fox's on-set meltdown. Let's see, the reports are a source close to the actress are saying that the back-to-back 10-hour work days have been a lot on her, and she hated being away from Radix, Raddix. It's got one of those Hollywood names, Radix. Cameron Diaz's son, Radix. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like the 10-hour work days. These people. I've been on movie sets. I've hung out on movie sets with people who are acting in movies. It's cool. It's very interesting, especially when you don't know what's going on. But here's what I did notice. I noticed that there is very little work going on. Cameron Diaz is complaining. She's saying, these 10-hour workdays, I just can't handle it. Do you know what a 10-hour workday on set for Cameron Diaz is? 9 hours and 45 minutes of her being in her luxury trailer watching soap operas, smoking pot, or talking on the phone, and 15 minutes of her standing on a set reciting lines. That's what a 10-hour workday is for Cameron Diaz. She can't handle that, and she misses her crazy named kid, Radix. All right. So she didn't like the 10-hour work days. She's not doing processing work for 10 hours. She could go out to lunch for 3-4 hours in the middle of the day, and it's totally cool because she's not due back for lighting until 5. Oh, as she's dining with some of her Hollywood friends. I'm telling you, these work days are killing me. Should we get another bottle of wine? She didn't like the 10-hour work days, but then also apparently Jamie Foxx was a dick. Apparently, Cameron loves being a mom more than anything in the world. Working on the UK-based production has meant that Diaz has been away from her family, and after almost a decade of being there all the time, she says it was hard to be away from her child. News of Cameron Diaz's return to acting. I don't know why I'm doing a Chicago accent now, but it was first announced back in September 2022 when the actress spoke about how she felt like she felt she had fallen back into it despite having an 8-year hiatus from the industry. Although she had not appeared on screen since 2014, it was only in 2018 that Diaz said she never intended to return to acting again. However, after signing up to star alongside Fox in Back in Action, she told this to Jimmy Fallon. I know, literally, I was like, hey guys, so what is this? What is the title of this? And they're like, Back in Action. And I was like, oh, fuck you. I don't care about your conversations with him. I want to hear about the fight. While Diaz and Fox have previously starred together in Oliver Stone's Any Given Sunday and Diaz's last movie, Annie, while it seems this previous working relationship is what helped Fox persuade the actress to come out of retirement, it seems that it is not going to lead to an ongoing stay for the actress. Although the second retirement of Cameron Diaz could see. All right, so whatever. Where are the details? I want the details. I've been hearing the details being talked about on Twitter, but in the actual story, they're not giving you the details, which leads me to believe that the details are bullshit. Let's just say this. The press is trying to put it out there like Cameron Diaz says she's retiring acting again because Jamie Foxx was a dick to everybody on the set. Then you get to the story, and there are no details of Jamie Foxx being a dick to everybody on the set, just Cameron Diaz complaining about working for 10 hours from a trailer. That's some bullshit media right there. We got fished in. We got catfished on that story. Here, I was hoping for some details. Surrey Cruise is trending. Surrey Cruise. Man, I like to do this with you. Surrey Cruise has Tom Cruise for a dad and Katie Holmes for a mom. Have you thought about Surrey Cruise lately? Here's why she's trending. Surrey Cruise is applying for colleges. Oh my God, you want to feel old? Surrey Cruise, the daughter of Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes, is applying for colleges. Here's why she's trending, though. It's been revealed that she's been traveling all these college trips with Katie Holmes, Dawson Creek, Katie Holmes. So mom's taking her on all these college trips, and Tom Cruise can't be bothered. Tom Cruise is apparently, and this is the next revelation. Do you know that Tom Cruise hasn't even seen Surrey Cruise? And fuck Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise has nothing to do with his daughter. Tom Cruise hasn't seen her since she was 5 years old or some shit like that. Tom Cruise, that fucking psychopath. Every time you see him, remember on Oprah where he was like, I'm so in love, and he climbed up on the remember that? Fucking weirdo with his weird ass Scientology shit. And then he makes these movies and we get lost in these movies, and I enjoy Tom Cruise the actor. But let's not kid ourselves. This is another one of these separating the art from the artist. If you were to tell me, if it was revealed in a bunch of years that Tom Cruise has a collection of human heads, I'd be like, that checks out. But I still like the Mission Impossible movies. It checks out. Now, am I shocked? That it's been revealed that Tom Cruise has murdered a whole bunch of people and he's got a bunch of heads in a cooler in his estate. No, I'm not shocked by that. As a matter of fact, with that crazy wackad, he's got a beautiful college-age daughter that he just, to the entire world, remember, I'm going to be the greatest dad. I just can't believe all of that. Tom Cruise hasn't had dick to do with Suri Cruise in like 15 years. But look at this. Let's check in on Suri, because I always okay, so here's the other thing about these things, right? So Tom Cruise is handsome man, like real handsome. Like, oh my God, oh, who do you think you are, Tom Cruise? You know what I mean? He's reached that level. Tom Cruise, undeniably handsome man. But to a certain generation, I mean, right? Is Katie Holmes the angel that fell from heaven, right? So you've got, undeniable handsome man and the angel who fell from heaven and Katie Holmes, and they produced a child. Handsome man and angel who fell from heaven have produced a child. So we would think that it would be a handsome angel who fell from heaven, right? So we haven't seen Suri Cruise. She's like 17. What are you thinking? Because here's what happens with this situation. They grow up, and when you look at these children, they either hurt your eyes because they're so exceptionally perfect, because, their mother and their father just created this. Well, yeah, I can see how that's the daughter of Zeus and Aphrodite. That is an absolutely beautiful depiction of humanity. Or they can go the other way. Like sometimes you get a really good-looking dad and a really good-looking mom, and they come together. And this doesn't just have to be in Hollywood. You can see this in your regular life. You got a couple of really good-looking friends who got one kid, and you're like. And here's the thing: there's no question about who the mommy or the daddy is, because they still look like both the mom and the dad. Just like a version of handsome mom or attractive mom and handsome dad. Just a version of them that is like a shrinky dink that was left in the oven a little bit. Don Swayze. I'll give you that. Don Swayze. That's a good example of this. Have you ever seen Don Swayze? Do you know who Don Swayze is? Don Swayze is Patrick Swayze's brother. Now, when you see Don Swayze, you go, that's an ugly man. And when you see Patrick Swayze, you go, that's a handsome man. And when you see Don Swayze and Patrick Swayze next to each other, and you go, they are obviously brothers, but one is like, one's chromosome went this way when the others went that way, and that's the whole difference between handsome. So I'm concerned about Suri Cruise. I'm wondering, like, what does 17-year-old Suri Cruise look like? Should we look? Should we check this out? Should we do it together? Let's do it together. Because I haven't seen Suri Cruise since she was like 5 years old, And do you remember what an absolute angel she was? She was like the most adorable little baby with her jet black hair, and she had these piercing blue eyes, and it was like, oh my God. I think we know what direction that one is going in. That one's going in the Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes made another masterpiece human. Another physically appealing masterpiece. You know what I mean? Like just going to be a beautiful grown-up. All right, so let's look at this. Let's check out 17-year-old Suri Cruise. If I had a drum roll, we do the drum roll. Are you ready? Here's Suri Cruise and her mom, Katie Holmes, visiting colleges. And Tom Cruise hasn't been in this beautiful little girl's life forever. Look at her right there. Suri Cruise on the right. She's gorgeous. She's beautiful. All right, congratulations. All right, it went the right way for you. Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes had themselves a baby, and we all expected it to be beautiful, and thankfully it was. There wasn't a Don Swayze situation here. Look at her. Are there other pictures? Okay. All right, so there you go. It's yeah, okay, so now look, there's Tom. Look at how pretty she was, little baby girl. Tom Cruise, I'm so proud. When I put her down and walk away, I'm not going to see her ever again. That's basically Tom Cruise, what he did. I have nothing to do with her. I mean, he's described as her estranged father. I don't know, I'll tell you right. And you know why? Over that crazy bullshit Scientology stuff. Because Katie Holmes doesn't want this little angel to be raised in that crazy wackadoo bullshit. And Tom Cruise is like, then she's dead to me. Okay, that's not a cult. You're a beautiful little angel baby. You're walking away because legally you've lost in court and the mother won't let you turn her into a little weird Scientology zombie. You're walking away from her. I don't know what that is anymore. There we go. Oh, look, happy couple and better times. Look at beautiful Katie and Tom. Look at little Surrey. All right, what's this? What do we got here? What is this, like a 10-year-old Surrey Cruise? Look at her. Look at Mom. Mom is so hot. Katie Holmes, boy. I'll tell you. Surrey Cruise, that's a beautiful little girl. Like if you were like a fashion editor or something, you were looking for a model and you saw that little girl right there, you'd be like, okay, she could be a model. Who's this? That's Katie. That's the strangest looking picture of Katie Holmes I've ever seen. That doesn't look like Katie Holmes. Looks like Ben Shapiro. Like, how did Ben Shapiro get into this? Look at little Surrey. Oh my God. Can you guys see this one? This is a Tom Cruise face. Oh my God. This right here. That's a Tom Cruise face. Surrey Cruise got Tom Cruise's smile. That's Tom Cruise face right there. What else we got? Another ad. What's that? Okay. I guess we're out of pictures. There you have it. I was really upset when I read that this morning, that Tom Cruise was, Byron just got off the phone with the lawyers on Don Swayze. We got problems. Nah, I think Don's dead too. Is Don dead too? I don't know. Find out. I'm not entirely sure. All right. I mean, could you imagine that though? I mean, again, this is I have to lean heavily sometimes into my separate the art from the artist, and I will still, see Tom Cruise in movies and stuff like that. But man, I'll tell you, he is as an artist, as a human, just to walk away from your daughter like that, just terrible. Surrey Cruise, God, she's beautiful. Good for her. Good for her. And I hope her mom. And you know what? That's better too, because don't you imagine that Katie Holmes will raise Surrey Cruise to be a better person than Tom Cruise would? You know what I mean? Like Tom Cruise is off. I'm gonna ride a motorcycle off the back of a cruise ship onto a jet plane as it passes. Like that, Tom Cruise is busy doing that shit. He's not sitting bedside with a 17-year-old Surrey who's like, I can't believe he's not texting me back. Tom Cruise ain't doing that bullshit. Katie is. So you know what? Fuck you, Tom Cruise. Get on your motorcycle, go drive it off a cliffside. Nobody cares. Daughter. Hey, here's a good one. This is a fun one. Lollapalooza 2023, my favorite of the big national festivals. Lollapalooza 2023 has announced their lineup. Let's see what this is about. Let's see. Lollapalooza 2023 releases full lineup. Looks like the headliners are some of the headliners. 2023 occurring in Millennial Park in Chicago. Lollapalooza 2020. Kendrick Lamar, Billie Eilish among the headliners. Show me the full lineup. Okay, here we go. This is what I like. I like these big, stupid. Let me see here. All right. So looks like the headliners are Kendrick Lamar, Billie Eilish, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Odessa, Lana Del Rey, Karol G, the 1975. The 1975. I mean, I don't know if they are like just are they the tippy top of like the dad rock genre? Because they are like so dad rock. But one, I really like them. So, that's probably box one checked. Did you guys ever notice that the bass player of 1975 looks like Jason Momoa? I was watching the 1975, the 1975. We're on, I think it was Saturday Night Live recently, and I'm looking at the band, I'm like grooving, I'm like, okay, grooving. I'm laying on the couch watching it. And I know I'm looking at the bass player. I'm like, that bass player looks exactly like Jason Momoa. Anyway, the 1975, Tomorrow and X Together. Okay, so that's the lineup. Kendrick Lamar, Billie Eilish, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Odessa, Lana Del Rey, Karol G, the 1975, Tomorrow and X Together. They also, let's look at some of these crazy names. All right. Now, I don't know. I'm going to run through these, okay? I don't know what's what. So here are just all the other acts that are going to be appearing, and we'll run through them. Fred again. I don't know. Noah Kahan. I don't know. A Boogie with the Hoodie. I don't know. Maggie Rogers. I don't know. Carly Rae Jepsen. Heard of her. 30 Seconds to Mars. Heard of that. Diplo. Heard of that. JID. I don't know. Louis the Child. I don't know. Pusha T. Heard of that. Subtronics. Heard of that. Rina Sawayama. I don't know. New Jeans. I don't know. Little Yachty. Heard of that because I think that's a funny name. Mount Joy. Backseat Lovers. Sophie Tucker. Portugal the Man. Heard of them. Alan Walker. Young Gravy. Heard of that. Sudden Death. The Revivalists. Heard of them. B-Ba-Do-B. I like the name, but I've never heard of them. Big Wild. Never heard of them. Thames. Never heard of them. Dom Dolla. Never heard of them. Medusa. Never heard of them. Sabrina Carpenter. Never heard of them. Afrojack. There you go. Lainey Wilson. Jesse Reyes. The Rose. Joey Badass. Gorgon City. Gorgon City. Key Glock. No. I'm just looking for names now that I recognize. There's a lot of bullshit here. It's not bullshit, dude. You're an old man who has no idea the value of these bands that you're just talking about. That is conceded. I will cede that point to you. You are absolutely right. Suki Waterhouse. She's an actress. Is Suki Waterhouse a performer? Isn't she an actress? What? They're just dropping. It's a list of like 1,000. I'll show you exactly what I'm looking at here, just so you guys know what I'm trying to read off of. Oh, shut up. Summer is coming. And just about an hour ago. Say the first day of spring. That's right. It's the first day of spring, right? All right. So here, this is what I'm looking at. Right there. I'm trying to read all those names in the middle. I can't. Those names in the middle are crazy hard to read. And then you throw out a, let's see who we got here. Sincere Engineer. I like that name. And by the way, don't be pissed. It's 2:37, people. This is a bonus show today. We're going bonus times. I don't know any of these people. Yeah, okay, never mind. So we're good. We're good. There you go. You see the full new Lollapalooza lineup. I have no idea who half of those bands are. Half! Oh my God, is that being generous? I have no idea who a good 90% of those bands are. Okay, so here's how I want to end today's show. Since we're not going to have... Apparently, let me look out the window. Still here. Oh, what's that? And our flag was still there. All right, so no indictment, no arrest, no nothing. Don't let that drag you away from the big story, though. USA versus Japan in tonight's World Baseball Classic. We're all very excited about that. I'm sure you're not, but I'm trying to keep you. Hey, I wanted to play this for you. So you want to do a little smash or trash? I need all the people in the chat room to come around. So those of you who've been with us from the beginning, you know that our closing theme song, Never Ending Quest, is a beautiful little ditty penned by America's favorite singer-songwriter and failed presidential assassin, John Hinckley. Our closing theme is a song being sung and performed by John Hinckley. John Hinckley has dropped a new song. A Hink drop, if you will. Should we listen to it? Do you want to smash or trash the new John Hinckley song that he's very proud of? He was putting it out there on social media. Hey, I just wrote a new song. I want to debut it here, blah, blah, blah. What do you say? So we'll listen to a little bit of it. I want everybody in the chat room. I want to hear your thoughts. Okay? Just tell me your thoughts. Let's listen to a Hink drop. Let's listen to the new Hinckley song. Let's see here. He's so earnestly, he's like, hey, everybody, if you like my music, maybe you want to come check out my new song. It's called Surrender to Love. And, yeah, that Hinckley sound. Hold on, guys. We'll get there. It's definitely got a Hink sound. There we go. All right, let's play a little smash or trash. Let's listen to the new John Hinckley song and see how this goes. There he is. There he is. Look at that kooky son of a bitch. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. This is my latest original song.
Be open-minded.
Children of the universe, tomorrow belongs to you. Always strive for peace and morals that are true. Surrender to the love that's bound to come your way. Surrender to the love. Show yourself today. If people wanna put you down, take the higher ground. Keep an eye on truth.
Okay, hold on. Wait a second. Barney. Smash and trash both sound negative. Barney, you know what a smash is? A smash is a smash hit, baby. A smash hit. Trash means we throw it in the trash. Smash or trash is a term that music directors, people who decided what got played on the radio, used to use. Smash meant, I like that song, let's put that on the air and make it a hit. Trash meant it went right in the trash. Smash or trash. So I kind of always assumed that was you know. Anyway, let's go back to John Hinckley.
It gets to be found. Surrender to the love that's bound to come your way. Surrender to the love. Show yourself today. All the hate you see, it can never win. I can promise you, you can start again. Surrender to the love that's bound to come your way. Surrender to the love. Show yourself today. Love is never free. It comes with a cost. You gotta pay the price, and you will not be lost. Surrender to the love that's bound to come your way. Surrender to the love.
Yeah!
Show yourself today. Surrender to the love that's bound to come your way. Surrender to the love. Show yourself today.
Yeah, it's a new one from John Hinckley here on the High Noon Stream. John Hinckley, failed presidential assassin, everyone's favorite singer-songwriter. How about a twofer? That's right, it's Tuesday. Go back to the hit factory for John Hinckley. All right, this is an undeniably banger. And you know it's good. You know it's good. That's the thing about the song. And I tried. Hold on. I'm trying to get rid of this stuff. Oh, I know what I'll do. Here we go. I have a little bit of difficulty with that. So when I first started playing this song, Never Ending Quest, we all thought it sucked. And now I've been playing it every day, twice a day, for almost 2 years. And admit it, not a terrible song. Not terrible. We're used to it. It's got a little something. Do you think about this? Like, there can't be anybody listening to more John Hinckley music than me, right? Like when John Hinckley looks at his numbers and he's like, oh, wow, man, this dude is really into me. That's me. Like, because, I have played this song at the end of this show and the end of the 9 o'clock show for almost a year and a half. I'm your number one fan, Mr. Man. Which is interesting because John Hinckley was that to Jodie Foster. I'm going to kill the president to get your attention. And now look, now I'm John Hinckley's stalker. Okay, so yesterday we spent a good 15, 20 minutes coming up with movie pitches. Stalking Hinckley. I don't know, work on it. I don't know. I got stuff to do. Stalking Hinckley. That's a screenplay. I become a stalker of one of the world's most famous stalkers. Kind of like Dexter meets... I don't know. A desperate bad idea. I don't know. Tip the show if you can. We'd appreciate that. Yeah, we went a little bit longer today. Why not? Why not? Tonight at 9 o'clock, Pugs and Parker join us. We're going to do another Live 105.3 What Happened, the Live 105.3 interview. We're going to talk to Dan O'Malley. Dan O'Malley he was there for quite some time. He was there. He saw a whole lot of stuff. So it's going to be interesting to get his perspective on things. And incredibly important to get the perspective of someone like Dan O'Malley. I appreciate him coming on. The show has not been... The interviews so far have not been very nice to the man that Dan O'Malley worked for a long time. And I think it's important that we get another side of him, if there is another side of him. So appreciate Dan being willing to come on. And there we go. All right, that's tonight, 9 o'clock. Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk with E! And tonight's very special guest, Dan O'Malley. All right, guys, thank you for hanging out with me today. I overcompensated. I know I started 10 minutes late, but I went 46 minutes over, so you got a bonus 36 minutes tonight. That's on me. Love ya. See you tonight at 9. Bye.